Stol, who we spoke about from the Netherlands, and Koen Martens from Belgium. So we'll see how this breaks down, the two favorites on the day.
Yeah, well, let's take a closer look at our judges. I think they have just arrived. Maybe we can go directly onto the field of play. I'm not sure. Yes, I think we can. Hopefully you can see them arriving now. Here come Bart Janssen, our stage judge. And his son STIHL Janssen will be the video judge, which I think gets to be a more and more important role, Troy, in TIMBERSPORTS.
Yeah, STIHL Janssen in competition control is where they keep an eye on everything that's happening on stage via video cameras. So it's a very important role that he has there, because in order to be fair for these athletes on stage, they have to have everything really. I mean, you know, one judge or two judges on stage can often make a small mistake. It's nothing against the judges, it's just human nature. But the video judge has a very important role. He has to go back through the milliseconds sometimes of a start that,
and there's so many close calls, yeah.
And there's very many close calls. We've seen it in almost every single event we've had this year so far, and it's been competition control that's made the big difference. And they look at it like next to next and super close to each other. So yeah, it's
and
really
also from the athlete's view, I think it's perfect, because you know everything is going to be decided on a very, very fair basis.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
And the big thing everybody is fighting for, that's the trophies from today, and we're going to take a closer look at the trophies right now. Oh yeah, look at them.
Nice.
Wouldn't mind having one of those in my living room, yeah.
We have to do a little bit of work to practice our axe swings and saw cuts first, though.
Well, me probably a very little more than you, but yeah, that's how it's going to work today. That's the trophies that everybody's going to be fighting for. Awesome pictures from the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS BeNeLux Championships 2019 as we are getting ready for the BeNeLux Championships 2020. So let's take a closer look at the format. 3 rounds of excitement coming up right now. So Troy, 3 rounds to be competed. We're going to start off with 14 athletes.
Normally we've got 12 out there, but today it's 14, 7 and 7. So,
and they will be reduced for the second round to 8.
Mm-hmm.
And in the final round, only 6 athletes are going to be competing for the big title.
In round 2, we'll also see a first round underhand chop, stock saw, standing block chop, and then round 2, you see there single buck and springboard. and as you mentioned, reducing it down to 6 athletes. And then it's something unusual for the hot saw. It's the decider discipline, but it's also normally a single hot saw participant on stage.
Not
today. This time, not today.
Not today.
It's going to be head-to-head, so that's going to be fun and loud.
Oh, yeah. I always really enjoy that, and have to say, it's going to be a hot saw tonight.
Yes.
And they're going to need it. The weather is not that perfect, so I think to heat things up is no mistake at all.
Nate, it's gonna definitely be helpful. A little bit of rain happening there, but these guys, I don't think it's going to affect them at all. They're going to be fully concentrated and ready for action.
So we've met the athletes. It's time to meet the discipline. Number 1, ladies and gentlemen. Get ready for the tool and the discipline.
Underhand chop. In the past, the underhand chop technique was used to split logs. Standing on a horizontally anchored block, the athletes cut through a 32-centimeter log. The block has to be worked from both sides. The axes used in TIMBERSPORTS definitely can't be bought at your local hardware store. Made from special steel, the blade is hand-sanded with an angle of 13 to 16 degrees. It's custom-built and carefully adjusted for each competition. The weight is around 3 kilos and it's about 80 centimeters long. The blade is so sharp that you could shave with it.
I like that. You could shave with that blade. Oh, wow. Let's take a look at the first 7 heats. It's going to be Florent van Remdonk taking on François Lambrets. Those pronunciations are going to kill me too.
They're already getting on us, huh?
Yeah. In heat number 2, Arnaud Goudsmit will take on Bert Berners. Then we're going to have Robin Cuvelier and Eugene Gerders. We're going to have Redmer Knoll and Edwin Dosts. Martin Cuvelier and Elko de Beer. Then Ben Terpstra and Martin Harms. And our final heat is going to be Koen Martins and Rick van Drelen. That's going to be a really big one.
That's going to be a good one, and we've seen them battle each other before in the past. And I mean, it's going to be a good heat, I think.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Can't wait for this one. All right, so our 68-year-old Florent van Remdonk coming out onto stage. And something that we can all aspire to be when we're 68 years old is that fit. Unbelievable and just fantastic. Now, coming out, François Lambrecht. Heat number 1, and now we're going to get our action underway. I'm really looking forward to this. And remember those axes, 3 kilograms, 80 centimeters long. And you can see their personal best there. They're not that far apart in age, 55 and 68. Well, 67 is listed there, but our sheets say 68. A couple of practice swings for Florent van Remdonk. Really important here is to make sure that you get some nice big slabs coming out of those blocks on the underhand chop. Try and get over to the other side as quickly and safely as possible. And, of course, no early starts before the gun goes. So here we go with our first heat of the day.
Okay.
Our granddaddy caddy on the left-hand side there in stand A, and Lambrecht on stand B on the right-hand side. Here we go.
1, go!
All right, so nice and even so far as these two get through that first side on their block. Who's going to be turning to the other side? It is Lambrechts moving to the other side first. Van Remdonk trying to go a bit deep on his side, gets that axe caught in twice now, and that's going to cause him to slow down the time. Lambrechts looking good, number 6 there on his leg, and Van Remdonk just had to step off his log as he lost his balance a little bit.
Passing the 45-second mark now, and it looks like it's going to be Lambrechts going to break through that log first in a time of 49.75. That's a personal best for him. And at the moment, he'll take over first place as we can hear the heavy breathing there, working that axe to try and get through that block. A couple more blows should do it for Van Reemdonk. A little skip of the axe. Got to be real careful there. And there we go. Breaks through in a time of 1:14.18. And that's a personal best as well for him. So there we have it. Our first heat is done and dusted. And we now have our first set of scores coming into the block. So Francois Lambrechts with 12 points, having the fastest time so far. And we'll take a look back during the slow-mos really quickly. It was Lambrechts who was first to get over to the other side to start working on the backside of his block. You can see here, this is the front side. Big slabs coming off of Lambrechts' block. A great job by both of these gentlemen to get our competition started here with the underhand chop. And there you see the final blow from Francois Lambrechts. And there we look at the underhand chop as our first two competitors. By default, we'll go 1 and 2 with 2 personal bests happening in that heat. Very nice. And then we'll move on to our next heat as our crew gets the stage ready for our next 2 competitors, which will be Arnaud Goudsmit and Bert Berners. Bart Janssen, center stage there, keeping a close eye on everything as our stage judge. Blocks are ready, and the guys were real quick to get that stage cleaned up nicely. All right, heat number 2 coming out onto the stage. Arnaud Goudsmit and Bert Berners. Running through the Belgian contingent to start things off for the day. Stand A in heat number 2 will be Arnaud Goudsmit, and stand B will be Bert Berners. Goudsmit looking pretty relaxed as he gets up on his block. Doesn't seem too stressed at all. A lot of this is mental preparation for these guys. We'll talk a little bit about that later on during the competition as well. And you can see an aspect of the mental preparation is those first few practice swings to make sure that you get your targeting on point. All right, here we go. Heat number 2, ready to go.
Athletes ready. Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So personal bests here, 105 for Goudsmit, 57.93 for Berners. To take the lead in the competition, they need to beat 49.51. Goudsmit right in front of you here on screen. Far side is Berners. Both of them looking good. Goudsmit is the first to move over to the other side. Could we see a personal best for him? He's got to beat his time of 105.93, and he is looking very well on the way to doing that, as he is the first one to move over to the other side. Now Goudsmit, or Berners, has moved over to the other side on his. Goudsmit is well ahead in this one. He's got a good piece of wood there. Just passing the 50-second mark. Oh, big axe stick there by Goudsmit as he gets past the 104, so no personal best for him today, I don't believe. No, it's not going to happen, but it should be 1-2 more hits as he steps off, gets back up. Oh, he's having a little bit of trouble. That axe is getting caught deep down low on that block. He's not allowed to swing that axe without his feet both being up on top there. Berners on the far side, similarly struggling as he has a quick skip there and has to step down big time forward. And And time limit is exceeded for Gutschmidt, and Bernays with a 1:25.30, although I think his time limit also was exceeded there. So we'll have to double check that. And a little bit of that, that grimace smile, not really satisfied with the performance there today. So both of these guys, I'm just looking at Bernd Bernays with a time of 1:29.56 and Arno Gutschmidt with a DQ, but we'll have to take a look back here as you see those incredibly sharp tools that they're using, and you can see right there they're oiling the axe heads so that they don't get stuck in there on those first few blows as they slab out some pieces. But it's really important to make sure that your angle is just right and that you have the right amount of power to slab those things out a bit, but you don't put too much down so that the axe gets caught in there, just like that situation right there for Gutschmidt. And again, that axe gets caught in there, some big long hits from way on high, and you can see huge slab comes off right there. And unfortunately, there was, now my screen has just been updated here as well. Both of them have gone over time, so that means we have 2 DQs, and that's something that makes this competition very interesting. And there you see that block is finally broken up, and they come down, and yeah. So a couple of DQs because of time limit being exceeded. And Marcus, I mean, we talked about it right off the hop. Anything can happen, and we've just witnessed that.
Absolutely. What an exciting start into this competition with 2 personal bests and 2 DQs. So, like you said, anything and everything is possible in this competition, and it's going to stay very exciting.
Now our crew will take care of the stage now to make sure that everything is ready to go. We got to get all that extra wood that's been chopped and slabbed away from those blocks cleaned off, and then put new blocks up there for them. But I mean, we saw in that first heat with François Lambrecht and Florian van Remdok, both of them had pretty respectable times. Florent van Remdok with 68 years old, a time of 1:14.01, a personal best. And François Lambrecht's time of 49.51. That's the time to beat at the moment. So both of those guys, personal best. And the other 2 guys, unfortunately, DQ'd because of time limit exceeded. Now, the reason why they do this is because you could spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes up there chopping that log through. They have to set a time limit in order for there to be enough time to set up everything afterwards, and also because we know that there is a certain amount of time that block should be cut through on, so that's why those time limits are set up. And it's interesting to note that we're not usually seeing those time limits broken, and that happened here in the process of having 2 guys DQ'd in this first heat, or the first set of heats in the first round. It makes it really interesting going through the rest.
But I can imagine that you get more and more exhausting while you're hitting, and at some stage it's just done. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
So it does make sense to set a time limit.
Yeah, and that time limit is very important also for the safety of the athletes, just like you mentioned. You know, when you're swinging that 3-kilo axe and it's getting tiring, your hands start to lose grip, you get that pump in your arms. Climbers often get that, and then you just can't hold on anymore. And you can imagine one big swing, oops, the axe is flying out. And I mean, luckily in this situation, you know, there's no audience there, and so it wouldn't matter. But still, the worst thing that could happen is something, you know, happens, like an axe just unforeseen comes out of the hands, or a weak hit and you chop your leg or something. I mean, the guys wear protective mesh socks and everything, but still, the time limit is also a safety matter here too.
But no weak hits on the floor on Van Remdok.
No.
I mean, getting a personal best at the age of 68.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Respect, yeah.
Kudos to him for sure. There's no doubt about it. That
absolutely fantastic.
That's definitely something to aspire to. I'm just completely impressed by that. Fantastic.
And a big number of athletes we're going to get to see this autumn. This is going to be a very hot autumn. We're going to give you all the dates of the upcoming events soon. But as I can see, the next heat is already getting ready. So Troy, back to you.
Wow, they were fast. Okay, heat number 3 is already on stage, and we have Robin Cuvelier against Eugen Geres.
Well said, yeah.
Did I get it right? Yeah, I think so. Couple of good personal bests there, under 38 seconds, so it'll be interesting to see how this goes. And you can see in the background there that weather just not optimal for
you know, the situation. So hopefully these guys can heat it up a bit in heat number 3 in the underhand chop. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Robin Cuvelier on the left-hand side of your screen. Eugen Kredes on the right side. Both of them with times, personal bests of under 40 seconds. And with the moisture in the air today, how will that affect the wood? You could see the blocks are a little bit wet. That makes them a bit sticky in some cases and makes it harder to get through. So because of that, we're not probably going to see some really, really fast times on these blocks today. But Cuvelier right there slapping out some nice big pieces as our camera tries to readjust position to find the best angle. And they both got over to the other side fairly quickly. Two evenly matched athletes here on this underhand chop. And it looks like it's going to be, oh, very close. And it's Cuvelier, first place with a 47.03. He's beat the fast time of the day. And a 52.72 for Kredes. So now we have a change in the lead in the underhand chop. Robin Cuvelier is now taking those 12 points with the fastest time of 46.72. That's been adjusted. And Francois Lambrecht will stay in second place with a 49.51, or moves down to second place, excuse me, with a 49.51. And Eugen Kredes is sitting in third place with a 52.37 as we take a look at some of those nice hits there. Really precise hits. Maybe not that one so much, but we can see the rain in the background. And a couple of times there you saw the edges of the logs were very wet as well. So that's something that's going to play a role for the grip that these guys have on top on those two cut plates where they have to stand. And of course the rule dictates that you have to cut through from both sides of the log. So you have to be careful with that axe in your hand from when you switch from your backside to your front side. And here we see both of them working on their backside log blocks. So respectable times, not personal bests here for both of them, but we've got a bit of a change in the overall lead, and we'll take a look at that once we see our leaderboard. Remember, the top guy in this discipline will get 12 points, second place 11, then 10, and so on and so forth. And we see here underhand chop now. We've got a bit of a switch around, so Cuvelier in top spot with a time of 46.72. Lambrecht moves down into second place with his 49.51, and Kredes sits now in third place with his 52.37, with Van Remdonk moving down to fourth place with a 1:14.01, 27 seconds off pace there. So, so far so good. Couple of personal bests, a couple of shifts in the overall standings and in the underhand chop standings, and we're moving on to heat number 4 coming out onto stage here. So first athlete heading out will be Redmer Knoll. And if you notice, if you pay attention closely to the forearms of a lot of these guys, they're like Popeye forearms. Redmer Knoll definitely there. And now coming out is Edwin Dost. Redmer Knoll at 27 years old, one of the younger guys out there, going up against 41-year-old Edwin Dost. Now Edwin Dost, we could say he has less a set of forearms than Redmer does, but he's got long arms. He's a tall guy, so let's see if these two guys can make an exciting battle here in heat number 4 in the underhand chop. These precision axes, they want to make sure that everything is absolutely perfect with them. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Couple of good personal bests here, by the way. Edwin Dost has the faster of the two at 32.18, so I would say advantage goes to him, but Redmar Knoll, yeah, being the younger of the two men, might have a little bit more energy as he gets his axe caught in there now twice, and that's going to cause a little bit of time, but he's over to the other side very quickly, so Edwin Dost looking good. Redmar Knoll still on the backside of his block, or excuse me, other way around. Now finally moves over. Edwin Dost moves over to the other side of his block. Redmar Knoll looking very good as he works the front side. And he gets through in a 33.77, and that's a personal best and the fastest time of the day. Well done for Redmar Knoll. Edwin Dost still trying to work through his... Gets a big stick there, though. Unfortunately, that axe gets caught in, and yeah, he has just gone well past his personal best there as he tries to get through this block of wood. Another big catch for him. And you could see him talking to that log and hear him talking to that log as he wants to get through there. And he's got to be careful that he doesn't go past the time. Oh, I can see it wiggling a little bit. One more hit should do it. Two, maybe. Yeah, there we go. Oh, just a hair is holding that thing on. My goodness, 1:16.82. That is a disappointing time for Edwin Dost, who we have seen with the best time of 32.18. Absolutely not his day today. And a personal best for Redmar Knoll, who takes over the top spot in our underhand chop with a time of 33.53. So another personal best falls by the wayside, and Redmar Knoll is our new leader. All right, and now I've just been also informed that stand 4, that would be the stand of Edwin Dost, has been DQ'd for a cut into the foothold. Now maybe we'll be able to get a view of that particular situation. It's very important that the footholds do not get contacted by the axe. This is a safety issue as well as making sure that these guys are precise with their hits. And if the foothold does get cut, then it is considered a DQ. And there we see Redmar Knoll with his great time of 33.53. And there we see Bart Janssen pointing out the section where the foothold did actually get cut through by the axe. So that is considered a disqualification. An unfortunate situation for Edwin Dost. His time was quite long, but he still could have taken away a few points there. But now he will not receive any points because of a DQ. So now we've had 3 disqualifications so far on the day and a new leader in underhand chop in Redmar Knoll. And a great time of 33.53 is the new time to beat for our next heat coming up. That's heat number 5 with Martin Cuvelier and Elko de Beer.
Yes, and I've heard, Troy, that Davy van der Aar is already on site with our first interview partner, so let's go directly back to the stage.
Hello, Marcus and Troy, here live in the Netherlands. Yes. Of our stage judge, Bart Janssen. And I'm very happy to be here, I'm very happy to be here, and I'm looking forward to some nice conversations. And I'm looking forward to some nice conversations with these wonderful athletes. And here, a personal best time for Redmar Knoll from the Netherlands. Are you very happy with this new time?
It was a messy cut. All right.
Can you talk a little bit to the mic, please?
Sure.
Okay.
It was a little bit of a messy cut, but can do better. But still happy with the time.
Yes, of course. But you did a really nice turn, and I saw, everything, the axe went smooth into the wood.
Yeah, that's what I train on. So I'm pretty excited about it.
All right.
But it can do better.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you have a personal best time, so I think that's magnificent.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
Next
okay.
discipline.
So did you have enough time to train for this competition during COVID-19?
Yeah, I got plenty of time, but not much competition, so that's the best training competitions. So.
Okay, yeah. And maybe the weather, it's raining cats and dogs and 14
I'm
degrees.
used to it.
You are used to it?
Yeah.
Because you're working in the woods and in the gardens?
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so
All right. Okay, thanks for this short interview and good luck with the following disciplines.
yeah, thank you.
All right. Good, and you know what they say, guys. A competition without expert commentary is like a pub without beer. Back to you, guys.
Thanks very much, Davey. Red McNall, this guy is a cool dude. Yeah, it's a personal best, but I can do better. And I trust him because it wasn't the cleanest of cuts. And Troy, you're going to explain a little later, but he actually can do better, can't he?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we saw a personal best fall there, and you know that the more the athletes learn a little bit more about different training techniques and everything, exercises and stretches and everything, because we know now that being flexible is also just as, if not more important than being powerful. And so that flexibility and that power combined with the accuracy, and these guys are really stepping up their game. I mean,
and he's just missing the competition. I mean, he's been practicing perfectly. We had the chance to talk to him and his team before.
Yeah.
And I think this guy is, doing the right things, but he needs the competition like in any other sport as well,
Yeah, that's the only way that you're going to learn how to deal with the stress. And I mean, obviously he did a great job dealing with the stress, and we'll see how the next pairing does against the stress of each other as well.
Let's go to the next heat.
All right, Martin Cuvelier up against Elko de Beer. This heat lined up and ready to go. There we see on the left-hand side, he'll be on stand A. Martin Cuvelier, personal best 31.70, 38.6 for Elko de Beer. Also, a couple of really good times here for their personal bests. And as we get higher up in the competition level, these personal bests are going to start to go down, and we're going to see faster times, hopefully. It would be nice to see a few more personal bests drop today. Let's keep an eye on this one.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Time to beat 33.53 as Martin Cuvelier and Elko de Beer get working on their blocks on the underhand chop here. Martin Cuvelier on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see his frequency of hits is a lot more, although he did get his axe caught there a couple of times, so that's going to slow him down some. And meanwhile, Elko de Beer has already moved over to the other side of his block, and we haven't even hit the 25-second mark, so this could well be a good set of times for both of these guys. Elko de Beer had a good start on the backside of his block at passing the 34-second mark now, and their personal best times aren't going to be beat. But Elko de Beer with a time of 37.39 moves into second place in the underhand chop, and Martin Cuvelier with a 43.90 sits in third place. So there's going to be some shifting in the standings in underhand chop, and therefore in the overall standings as well. We'll get to that a little bit more later on, but that was a real nice hit and run by Elko de Beer, who has managed to move himself into second place just behind Red Knoll with a time of 37.39. So 33.53 still the time to beat, held by Red Knoll. That's his personal best, and we'll take a look back here at some of the slow-mos. Watch the start by both of these guys. Big hits and an axe stick, and right there you could see we might have a bit of an issue with cutting into the foothold, although I think we might be okay. I just saw that it was the line that he cut over, but that's not at the foothold, so safe to say we're good to go for Robin Cuvelier. With his time of 46.72 will be 13 seconds off pace, but still count. Now you see Elko de Beer, his block, as he moves over to the other side quite quickly. And that overhead shot, that's a nice shot actually, I like that. We could see the action and the axe swing from a different angle. Elko de Beer right there with a final hit, and that block separates with the purpose. And Elko de Beer wins that heat and managed to get himself into second place. And a quick block check by our judge on stage. So you can see, oh, and there's been a little bit of a switch around here. An adjusted time from Martin Cuvelier actually has him sitting in third place there.
I did say third place earlier, didn't I, Marcus?
I believe so,
I believe
yes.
So,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So we've, like I said, we've got a bit of a switch around in the overall standings. And the next heat coming out with Ben Terpstra and Martin Harms. So Ben Terpstra coming out onto the stage now. Followed shortly behind him will be Martin Harms. Ben Terpstra, he is a tall man. And Martin Harms coming out on stage. Now looking at their personal bests, pretty fast, 29:41 and 26:67. By the way, the BeNeLux national record is 24:17, held by Rick van Drielen. So let's see if anybody can get that today. Time to beat, 33:53 for the lead.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Ben Terpstra, Martin Harms beginning their underhand chop heat. Quick axes from both of these guys. Martin Harms really working that, though, as Ben Terpstra right in front of you using his height to his advantage, but it's Martin Harms who's moving over to the other side before Terpstra. Now Terpstra steps around to the other side of his block. Martin Harms with the advantage now. Let's see if he can get through in a good time. Bearing down on 30 seconds. Martin Harms right in front of you there with the number 1 on his leg. Terpstra on the far side. Couple of axe sticks from both of these guys has slowed things down. And as we see, the wet blocks just making it really difficult as Martin Harms gets through in 44:07 and Ben Terpstra a couple of seconds later with 47:57. Respectable times, but that puts them in 4th and 6th positions at the moment. There'll be a final adjustment on those times once Bart Jansen gives us the thumbs up that all cuts are good, and it looks like that has been the case. So Martin Harms sits in 4th place with a time of 43:75. Ben Terpstra in 6th place with a time of 47:40. You can see some nice big slabs coming off there. It was Martin Harms that actually got around to the other side of his log first. Ben Terpstra took a little bit more time on the backside, probably hoping to get a little bit deeper so that he wouldn't have to cut so deep on the front side. But the advantage was to Martin Harms in this case, as he managed to cut through ahead of Ben Terpstra. Not their personal bests, so we've only had 3 of those fall today, but a couple of guys that we know definitely have very fast times on the underhand chop. Both of them around 25 seconds. See in the middle screen up top there, the time to beat and their 2 running times on the respective screens above them. All right, so some changes in the ranking as we take a look here. As Redmer Knoll, he stays on top. Elko de Beer right behind him with Martin Cuvelier. And then Martin Harms moves into 4th place, and there we see Robin Cuvelier in 5th place and Ben Terpstra in 6th place with 1 more heat to go. And that is the man who holds the national record for BeNeLux. He'll be in heat number 7, is Rick van Drielen, and he'll be going up against the favorite for the day, Koen Martens.
And as we are getting ready for this final heat in this first discipline, we have to talk about another topic that's very important for STIHL Timber Sports, and that's respect and tolerance.
We are TIMBERSPORTS, united by passion for the sport and competition.
We chop down racism
And say yes to tolerance.
Yes to tolerance.
Säg ja till tolerans.
Yes to tolerance.
Yes to tolerance.
是的，理解宽容。
Powiedz tak tolerancji. Ja zu tolerancji.
We are TIMBERSPORTS.
And we are getting ready for this final heat. Troy, let me talk about those safety socks with you. They look very dangerous to me. Just, chopping and just wearing those ordinary sneakers. It will still hurt if you hit yourself, even though you're wearing those safety socks.
Well, we saw this in the Polish Championships. These guys have chainmail socks, basically the same thing the knights wore under their armor back in the day. And that's in order to prevent a really excessive cut on the ankle or something, because they're only wearing normal tennis shoes or some sort of a soft shoe, so they have better grip on the blocks. So they have to have them on. And like I said, we saw that in the Polish Championship. A competitor had to actually bow out of the competition because of needing to get stitches on his ankle. He's okay, but the things happen, and better that than something worse. So here we go with our final heat in underhand chop. Koen Martens going up against Rick van Drielen. Rick van Drielen, the man who holds the record for BeNeLux.
3, 2, 1, go!
Let's see if either of these two guys have some good wood. Van Drielen on the right-hand side, Koen Martens on the left-hand side, and you can see they're already working that axe quickly. Who will come over to the other side first? There you see Van Drielen right up close there. Koen Martens on the other side has already gone over to the other side of his block, and now Van Drielen switches to the other side. Just hitting the 24, 25 second mark now. Koen Martens, oh yeah, great time there for Koen Martens with a 28.98, and that moves him into first place, and our favorite for the event shows why he is that exactly. Rick van Drielen still trying to carve his out and finally gets through in 39.70. Not a bad time, not the world record or the national record, but he's in a good position in fourth place with that time. And Koen Martens with a 28.87 obliterates the 33.53 and takes over the top spot in underhand chop, excuse me. You could see Koen Martens actually got his axe caught on those first couple of hits, but then got back into his rhythm on the left-hand side of your screen. And meanwhile, Rick van Drielen was really going hard. And you can see the frequency of their hits is very, very similar. They're going for those quick hacks into the block, and Koen Martens there getting caught a couple of times. And imagine if he hadn't gotten that axe caught those 2-3 times, he might have had an even faster time. His personal best, by the way, 25.05. And Rick van Drielen in the background there, after Koen Martens breaks through, he was excited about that one. And Rick van Drielen came in 10 seconds after him with a time of 39.50 after adjustments were made. And those adjustments I talk about are just coming from competition control as we take a look now at the underhand chop standings. So Koen Martens at the top with a great time of 28.87. He'll get those 12 points, which is all important here for the overall. And then we have Knoll and De Beer in places 2 and 3. And Van Drielen, not a bad situation for him in fourth place. So he's still in the mix. And then I hope we'll get an overall standings look as well here. Or not that, but basically the underhand chop standings there after those disciplines is where we at in the overall standings.
Well, Troy, we've seen a personal best. We've seen a great time from the new leader, and I think we should try and analyze that best chop. So maybe we can get that best chop in slow motion so you can tell us all about it. And here it comes.
All right, let's have a look here. So you can see we get a really good start from both of these guys. And right away, Koen gets that axe caught in one of these initial blows. And you probably can imagine, like I was saying, if he hadn't got it caught, he would have been maybe 1.5 seconds faster, because he did actually get it caught about 3 times. Rick van Drielen on the right-hand side of your screen in this duo is also doing a great job with those quick hits, but it was Kuhn there. You can see, look how he uses his knees, bending down, swinging through the hips, and then really extending his butt upwards as he makes that final blow into the wood. And his precision is just fantastic. You can see each hit right on point. He doesn't make any really big mistakes. Yeah, he got his axe caught a couple of times, but you could see how adept he is at focusing and really making sure that that axe hits exactly in the right spot every single time. Now, there was one of the hooks he got, another one, but just imagine if he hadn't hooked up that many times, how much faster he would have been. And it was a great couple of final blows here by Kuhn Martens as he wins this one with a time of 28.87. And you can see that's the final blow right there. As the time stops on the screen up there, you can see 28.98. But after they go to competition control and take a quick look back to make sure that they're precise with their timing, it gets adjusted. And that's what I'm talking about with the adjustment times.
And to be honest, the way Kuhn Martens handles his axe, it seems kind of effortless. Is that maybe the secret of success, not using too much power, just getting that flow into your movement?
I think it's very much about the flow and, nice smooth arcs, nice clean hits, and making sure that you don't overpower the axe, because that's when we see the axe getting caught deep, especially if the wood is a little bit moist like it is today.
So we're going to see a lot more of exciting STIHL Timber Sports competition, not only today, but also in the future. Let's take a look at the competitions of 2020. If you missed out on some of them, no problem. We've got videos on demand, so no problem on maybe taking another close look at the Four Nations Cup or maybe the German Championship. But to look out for the 8th November with the European Trophy or the 29th November with the Individual World Championship is something that we are really excited about, Troy, aren't we?
Absolutely. I'm totally looking forward to those two events coming to Munich. And it's going to be a lot of fun to be part of those as well.
And also we can get a seasonal review, and that's coming up next. So enjoy the pictures that we will show you right now.
Ben goes down on the way around, but he's not giving up, and he's looking good! Anyway! Ben Cumberland, a 13.06, amazing! Officially, that is the world record to beat in the new setup. The monkey is off his back. Braden Myers is your 2019 STIHL Timber Sports World Champion!
Oh, well, I can't wait. How does that feel? I mean, hearing your voice, Troy, and seeing those pictures.
It's goosebumps.
Awesome.
And Braden Myers, he's one of the reasons why the underhand chop and the standing block chop have progressed as much as they have, because he showed up at the Champions Trophy a few years back and just blew everybody's mind with how quickly he could move that axe in and out of that block. It was incredible. Everybody was sort of like, what's happening here with this Australian kid? And then world champion. So good job by him. It's absolutely fantastic. So
I love the way you said that. And now, we're going to take a look at the bracket. Here we go. So that sums up what we've seen in round one so far. And that's the points that have been awarded so far. Of course, for a DQ, you do not receive points. And it's time to move on to our next discipline, and that's stock saw. All you need to know about the tool and the discipline coming up right now for you.
Stock saw. After the starting shot, the contestants have to cut two wooden discs, so-called cookies, within a 10-centimeter mark. One downward and one upward. The attempt is only valid when both discs have been cut off completely and within the marks. The STIHL MS661CM stock saw is used in STIHL Timber Sports as the ultimate test of operator skill. Designed for the toughest jobs in forestry, it produces approximately 7.3 horsepower, has a displacement of 91.1 cc, and weighs 7.4 kilograms. To ensure evenly and fairly matched saws, professional steel technicians prepare and test the saws before each competition.
It's time for the stock saw, ladies and gentlemen. Let's take a closer look at the start list. So in heat number 1, we have François Lambrecht take on Florent van Ramdank. In heat number 2, it will be Arno Goudsmed against Eugene Gerdes. In heat 3, Redmer Knoll taking on Bernd Berners. Heat 4, Rick van Drielen and Koen Martins. In heat 5, we'll see Martin Harms and Martin Cuvelier. In heat 6, Ben Trestra and Robin Cuvelier. And in heat 7, Elko de Beer and Edwin Dosts. Let's rock this, Troy. Over and back to you.
Thanks, Marcus. And I gotta say, I'm interested to see if maybe we might have a world record happen here. 951 is a new world record that was just set at the Polish Championships not too long ago, the beginning of our season. So, yeah, there's an opportunity here, and we have seen world records fall at national championships before. So there is an excitement in the air as François Lambrecht and Florent van Ramdank come out on the stage. And again, I'm still absolutely flabbergasted by Van Ramdank at 68 years of age being out there and competing with these guys. It's awesome. So again, here we have the STIHL MS661 stock saw. This is essentially the same saw that you can go out and buy at your local STIHL dealership. And this is a precision tool that has not been adapted, changed, or anything. There's been no changes into the blade or the chain. There's been no motor changes at all. It's been set up by a STIHL technician to make sure that both saws are operating exactly the same, so this competition is fair. What this is all about is just making sure that you have the right amount of pressure on your saw and keep that throttle going so that the saw doesn't stall as you go through the wood. You also have to make sure that you're precise. You've only got 10 centimeters in order to make your cuts in as quick a time as possible. Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
And this is absolutely gas heads competition. Van Ramdank with a great start, but it's Lambrecht who's got the good pressure as he starts his upwards cut a little bit quicker than Van Ramdank. And now it looks like he's going to get through in a time of 12:54. Great time, and it's a personal best for Lambrecht, and Van Ramdank gets second place here with a 14:15. So that puts him into second place in the overall. But we do have an investigation on stand A by the looks of it. So François Lambrecht on stand A with a time of 12:54. That's a personal best for him. But we've got good cuts by the looks of it for all these guys. So there's some happy faces out there. Nice. All right, so we have our first scores in for stock saw. And that means the scores will be added up. There you see in the orange field, first and second place. That means their scores from earlier are added to their scores from this heat here. What a great start, though, by Van Ramdank. He got up there very, very quickly. He just didn't have the pressure going through, where you could see Lambrecht had really good pressure, no real downswing as he came back up for the upstroke, and his timing was very, very good. And there you could see, again, Van Ramdank, no downswing as he came back for his upstroke as well, but he just didn't have the appropriate amount of pressure. Might have put a little bit too much pressure on there, and that saw blade got slowed down a little bit. And there, Bart Jansen gives him the thumbs up, and who's excited? Van Ramdank is excited. So there you see our first heat sets our first two positions in stock saw. Lambrecht in first and Van Ramdank in second. That means in the overall standings, those two guys will take over first and second place because they received the points so far. But there's still 6 more heats to go where we're going to distribute some more points in this stock saw. And this is the event for all the gas heads out there that like the noise and the smoke and the smell. It's awesome. Stage is set. And you can see those two stock saws sitting there on stage. They're actually sitting in a custom-made rubber pad. Now, in years past, they would put down like a flat rubber pad so that the saws would not hop away from them, because in the past the saws had hopped away, but now they have these custom-made rubber pads with a foothold so that the athletes can hold the saws exactly where they need them. Coming onto the stage, Arno Goldschmidt, and he'll be going up against Eugen Gerdes in heat number 2. You can see personal bests are a little bit faster than the current top time. Time to beat 12:50. So let's see how these two gentlemen do as they get their start marks set up for those first cuts.
Okay, gentlemen. Warm up your saw.
All right, so a few seconds to warm up those saws and get them running cleanly. They'll leave them running as they put them in those pads that I was talking about there, and you can see that holds that saw in place because the motor running, the piston hopping, that bounces all over the place where those pads not there. Here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice even start by both of them. Gerdes looks like he's got a little bit of a faster cut. Nice upswing by Gerdes as he gets going on his upstroke. This could be a good time for him. Oh, my good Goldschmidt comes from behind with a 12:19. That puts him in 3rd place overall and 1st place for the stock saw, just 21 hundredths of a second ahead of, oh my goodness, we got some changes going on. Yeah, Eugen Gerdes with a 12:30. Moves into top spot, and we have a DQ on stand 1. Oh, no. Arno Goldschmidt, it looks like he might have cut over the line. We're just checking to make sure everything is what's happening with his stand, if it's a cut line or an incomplete cookie. Ah, there you see. So he cut over the line on his 10-centimeter section of block that he's allowed to cut in. Maybe we'll get a slow-mo of that in the review. So Arno Goldschmidt is disqualified, and this is one of the reasons why these guys make those marks right there, to make sure that they really can target for that first cut. Great job on the first cut there by Eugen Gerdes. And look at that, barely any downswing as he comes back up for his second cut using his guideline as well. And he did have the slower time of the two. Arno Goldschmidt with a great time, but unfortunately he cut over the line on the way back up by the looks of it. Huge fat cookie. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And they do say thin to win in these motor saw disciplines, and you can see right away Bart Jansen notices it's cut over the line clearly. So that is a DQ for Arno Goldschmidt, although he did have a very good time. Eugen Gerdes, happy about his time of 12:30 being 20 hundredths of a second faster, so he moves in to the top spot in stock saw. And that means in the overall, he should also move into 2nd place, with Francois Lambrechts holding on to 1st place for the moment.
Well, I feel really sorry for Arno Goldschmidt, I have to say. 2 DQs, and he would have had a really good time at this stage. Trey, what do you do if you have 2 DQs? Do you still continue, or do you kind of let things go in a situation like this?
Well, you can't give up. I mean, it's a competition. If you give up, you might as well not even bother going to the competition. So
I thought you were going to say that, but I had to ask the question.
These guys aren't the types of people to just say, "Oh, I've got 2 DQs, so I'm going to stop now." Okay, I mean, they're competitors. They're battling for points, and they're going to do everything they can to try and get back into it. But
and
for him,
nothing to lose.
It's going to be difficult now because he's got 2 DQs, so he's really going to have to be near perfect for the rest of the competition if he wants to be in there.
To reach the second round.
Second round, exactly.
So risk everything in the third discipline.
Basically. I mean, it's going to be tough for him. I don't know if he's going to make it, quite honestly.
If you want to take a risk, you can also watch Amazon Prime. And believe it or not, there's just not only movies and really exciting series, but also STIHL TIMBERSPORTS. We are Prime.
Oh my God, how close is this? It's one of the closest heats we've had all day long, and it's Australia!
When the crowd start, erupting, screaming, shouting, it just really does give you goosebumps.
It's pretty awesome to compete in front of a crowd like this.
I've been working my ass off the last 5 years to get to this point.
Is it going to be the checker bubble? Yes, it is! And the crowd goes bananas! He moves, then goes down. He's looking good!
It might make some people nervous. It doesn't make me nervous. It makes me ready to go.
To come here to the World Championships is one of my dreams. It has been ever since as a kid.
Well, there's only 5 different sports you can watch on Amazon Prime, and STIHL TIMBERSPORTS is one of them. And exciting STIHL TIMBERSPORTS action is guaranteed, Troy, with our next heat.
Absolutely. Redmar Knoll going up against Bert Berners. So we'll see. Redmar Knoll, personal best 11:25 in stock saw. Bert Berners with a personal best of 10:78 as Redmar Knoll, who will be on stand 1, comes out first. Those glasses hiding the eyes, maybe the eyes of determination or the eyes of fear. Who knows? Because he knows he's going up against this man, Bert Berners, who has a slightly faster time in stock saw. Here's where being tall isn't necessarily an advantage because, you got more distance to go down to your saw and get it back up into position. Or maybe that's just dopey to say that, but I think being a little bit shorter here in this case is slight advantages.
Especially with the differences being
minimal.
Just tiny.
Hundredths of a second in some cases.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up your saw.
All right.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, good start by both of these guys. They were quick up and on those blocks, but Redmar Knoll looks like he's got a slightly faster cut on the way down. Gets back on the way up now. Looks like we could have a good time for him. Yeah! 11:30 personal best for Redmar Knoll, and he's got first place in the overall and first place in stock saw. Bernd Bernays, wow, not bad for him either. 12:09, not his personal best, but he is the second fastest in stock saw. That was a great heat. I didn't even have time to say anything. They were so quick down and out. All right, take a look back here on the warm-ups, and you can see how quick were these guys getting in there. Bert Berners right there. You can see just slowed down a little bit in that section there. That saw started to get a bit slow on the blade, and then he had a big downswing as he got back up on his upstroke. And the upstroke was very good, though. He had a nice upstroke, so had he been a little bit faster and cleaner on that downstroke, we might have seen a different result here, but as it stands, Redmar Knoll had the cleanest cuts, both on the down and the up, and I didn't recall seeing much of a swing underneath to get back into his upward stroke. So hopefully, no, we're not going to get to see a review of his, but Redmar Knoll, personal best time of 11:18, sits in the top spot and has created the time to beat for everybody else. Bert Berners sits in second place in the stock saw, and he sits now in fifth place in the overall standings, with Redmar Knoll having 23 points total, sitting top of the overall rankings. But will that change? We'll see in the next heat with Rick van Drielen and Koen Martens, these two mighty mountain men going at it once again. So in the middle of the screen at the top above the signs there, you see in red 11:18 is the time to beat. And here comes our first competitor for heat number 4 in stock saw, Rick van Drielen. As we said off the top of the show, his sister Kim is married to Elko de Beer. So this truly is a family affair. And Koen Martens, the man who had the lead with the fastest time in the underhand chop. Will he have a solid time here in the stock saw and take over the overall lead? Personal bests for both of these guys is not that far apart, only a couple hundredths of a second. And you can see Koen Martens there precisely measuring out his cut start and cut finish. Rick van Drielen, both of these guys, veterans of the sport as they do their last minute checks and setting themselves up on the blocks. Another thing that's very important to pay attention to is there is a line at the top of the block and the hands have to be over that line. This is something that we saw in another event recently where the hands were not over the line and the athlete was disqualified because the hands were not in the right position. So this is all very, very important. These small little nuances that play such a role here.
1, go!
Oh, wow, look at this. These two guys are so evenly matched up here. Rick van Drielen, Koen Martens. Pretty even. Koen Martens with a slight advantage on the upstroke. Let's see who's going to get it first. It's Koen Martens with 11:01, fastest time of the day. And Rick van Drielen with the third fastest time on stock saw with an 11:75. That puts Koen Martens back into the top of the event, and he is the winner of stock saw thus far, but we still have 3 more heats to go. But that gives him 24 points total, which puts him atop the overall rank. And let's take a look here in the slow-mo. Some good time with adjusted times now, looking like they've gotten even faster. Koen Martens with a 10.92 after adjustment, and Rick van Drielen with an 11.54. Let's look one more time. There you can see Koen Martens had a little bit of a high set as he got into the log for the first cut. And here's where it's all about that control and precision. Nice thin cut for Rick van Drielen right off the hop. No downswing at all as he transitions to the upward stroke. But it was Koen Martens who had just a little bit more of a smooth run on the upswing. Speaking of upswing, Booma messing around with the camera in here is distracting. And Koen Martens knew that he had a good time there. Very good job by the favorite, who has so far not disappointed in his performance today. Fastest time in underhand, and now the fastest time in stock saw. Rick van Drielen, third fastest time in stock saw, and Red McNull sitting in second with a personal best. And then the overall standings, there you can see those 3 guys stay in the top 3 positions. So no changes there. We just saw the changes happening around in the lower, but we still have a few more heats to go. 3 more, in fact, 5, 6, and 7. All right, stage is set. And that rain is pouring down. That is an unfortunate situation for the guys there. Always nice to have, you know, nice weather for these events. It just makes the attitude and the headspace a little bit more fun too. But they're so focused on everything that's going on. As Martin Harms comes out onto stage, he'll have stand 1, and he'll be going up against Martin Cuvelier. Couple of good times. We're not seeing a lot of massive differences between the top guys here with their personal bests on stock saw. You know, only a few hundredths of a second. They're all more or less around the 9-10 mark. So, you know, pretty fair competition throughout, I think, with all of these guys. Let's just see about, you know, we talked about it off the top of the show. It's about who makes the mistakes, who can, you know, maybe get past that mental block or those issues inside your own head to be able to make those cuts nice and clean.
Okay, gentlemen, warm up yourself.
All right, here we go. Martin Harms. Martin Cuvelier.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Nice, clean start by Martin Harms. His upward cut is way good. Cuvelier struggled a little bit and had to make a bit of an adjustment there. It looks like he felt like maybe the saw was going to stall on him. 10.56 for Martin Harms on that stock saw is first place for him right now. So he pushes Koen Martens down, who had a 10.92. There might be an adjustment in that time to make it even a little bit faster. Martin Cuvelier, unfortunately, he had to stop and drop the saw out of the cut a little bit in order to make sure that that blade kept turning. So let's have a look back here what happened. So right there, closest to you is Cuvelier, and you could see a little bit of a choppy downward cut there. And already Harms on the other side was on the upward cut, and there's that readjustment that cost him that time. Here we go with Martin Harms. Nice, thin to win first cut. Yeah, hardly any downswing as he gets set for his upward cut. Nice time by him. Yeah, and he's happy with that one. He looks at the time and goes, yep, I'm cool with that. A 10.42 puts him in the top spot, just ahead of Koen Martens. So, our favorite gets pushed down into second place in stock saw. How's that going to affect his overall? I think he'll be safe and stay in the top spot. Yes, he does. Martin Harms, though, moves up into third place, so that's good for him. So Koen Martens, Red McNull, Martin Harms, top 3 in the overall standings. All right, our next heat, heat number 6 in stock saw. Coming out now, Ben Terpstra. Ben Terpstra with a pretty solid underhand chop, was in 8th place there in his heat, so we'll see how he does. Robin Cuvelier, the brother of Martin, coming out now in this heat. Two completely different guys, but look how close their times are. 10.23 and 10.21 personal bests for both of them. By the way, the BeNeLux national record is 10 even, held by Edwin Dost. And the world record, as I said, 9.51, held by Poland's Marcin Pikowski. And he got that just a few weeks ago. Ben Terpstra, Robin Cuvelier.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, a bit of a hoppy start by Cuvelier. Ben Terpstra has the advantage here as he drops that first cookie. Cuvelier catching up, though. It could be that he might finish this one ahead. Oh my goodness, now how close is that? Look at that, 11.21, 11.21. That is dead even. They're going to have to go to competition control to readjust those times. But that puts them tied for 4th place at the moment, with competition control going to need to be looking really closely at who actually broke the top of that block first, if, in fact, it did come that close. Wow, that was great. Okay, we've had a bit of an adjustment here. Let's take a look back first at the start. These guys both got on that first cut so evenly. Excuse me, I lied. It was Cuvelier who had a little bit of a skip to start, but caught up nicely, and on this upstroke, man, he was quick. There you see Terpstra. And again, thin to win is the key, because the thinner that block is, the less it binds on the blades as it cuts through. Look at that. Whoa! That couldn't have been timed any more perfectly for the drop. So Ben Terpstra with an 11.05 adjusted time, and Robin Cuvelier with an 11.08. Man, oh man, oh man, was that close. So Ben Terpstra, just by the hair on his chinny chin chin, comes ahead of Cuvelier. All right, and we are looking at that great heat one more time. That was a fun heat because they were so close. And look at the flourish by Terpstra as he brings his saw way up in the air. And there you see, in the stock saw, 3 and 4 for Terpstra and Cuvelier. And in the overall standings, 5th and 6th place, but turned around. So, our last heat, heat number 7, getting ready, Elko de Beer and Edwin Dost. Edwin Dost holds the national record for this discipline, and that is a time of 10 even. How hard is it to get 10 seconds even with no hundreds or thousands or anything on the back end?
Really hard.
Yeah, unbelievable. Elko de Beer, not that far back though, with a 10:03, and he's the first one to come out as Edwin Dost joins us on stage now. So there you see Elko de Beer 10:03 and Edwin Dost with a 10:00. Dost, Edwin Dost, 10:00. Why not? Have a little bit of fun with it. All right, boys, here we go. Try and imagine lifting up that saw. I mean, it's not a heavy saw. It's nicely balanced, the STIHL MS661, but when you've got to get it off the ground, line it up for a nice thin cut to start inside of a 10-centimeter space, and your head playing games with you, knowing that you're going up against a guy that could definitely beat you. There's a lot that can play a role here. All right, here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Wow, great start by both of them. Elko de Beer, Edwin Dost. Edwin Dost definitely looking good on the upstroke. Oh boy! Gets there in 10:43, and Elko de Beer with 10:29. I could have sworn that Edwin Dost was a little bit faster on that right-hand side, so we may have to look back at competition control and just see what kind of adjusted times we have. But Elko de Beer at the moment unofficially with a 10:16 and Edwin Dost with a 10:43. Let's see if that will stay as is. Looking at these cuts one more time and the start. Pretty good start by Edwin Dost on the right-hand side, but Elko de Beer, wow, how quick was that first cut? Hot knife through butter by Elko de Beer right there. Edwin Dost on the other side. Yeah, and it was just that last 5 to 10 centimeters on the upstroke that Elko de Beer got a little bit faster through than Edwin Dost did. So, yeah, a really nice final cut as we look at the stock saw results. And de Beer moves into the top spot with Dost in third, moving Koen Martens down into fourth place. And that means Koen Martens moves into second place in the overall standings with Elko de Beer now taking over the lead. Now it's getting interesting.
Oh, now it's getting very interesting. I was always thinking about Koen Martens and Redmer Knoll. But now this man, Elko de Beer, I mean, he's up in the lead and... oh, wow. We're looking forward to some really interesting stuff as we proceed to the final discipline of this first round. But from what I've heard, Davy van der Aar is already somewhere live with one of our athletes. So maybe we can go down and find out who he's got. No, we're going into the analysis of that Elko de Beer, the current overall leader.
Now watch the upcuts here, Marcus. Elko de Beer on the left-hand side. Edwin Dost looks like he was going to get there first, but then Elko de Beer just came from behind like he had a hot knife going through butter, like I said.
How did he do that?
It was incredible, and you can watch right here. He's got a nice, steady, even stroke, and it was just so quick on those last 10 centimeters through the top of that block, and he caught up and actually beat Edwin Dost. So it was an incredible effort on his part.
He's just, oh yeah, what?
Yeah,
that's the way to do it.
No problem. It is what it is, Jeff. Cool as a cucumber as he came out of that one. So good job there. Fantastic.
So we actually have an interview partner now. So let's take a closer look and go live.
And when the rain begins to fall, in competition, not a personal best time in this discipline, but 10.42. It's a great time.
Yeah, it's a great time. I'm happy with the time because my first disc was not good for me. The angle was not good. It was not great, so I had to correct it. And yeah, but that time, even then, it's good for me.
All right, you are in third position now. That's a very good place. What is your perspective towards the next disciplines?
Yeah, well, standing is my best discipline for me, so that's the next one. So I'm gonna love it because I'm gonna win it. I want to win it.
It seems to me you are in very good shape today. Is it?
Well, I hope.
Because I heard from your teammates you had not enough time to train, but you did. Or what did you do exactly?
I take a lot of rest, so that's good preparation also.
That's also important, taking enough rest. Yeah? All right, thanks for the interview. Okay, Marcus and Troy, I think we have a very satisfied athlete in here. Back to you, guys.
Thanks very much, Davey. That's what I call preparation. Take a lot of rest. Yeah, that's something, you know, we can think about more often. At least I know this man thinks about this more often, Troy.
Yeah, I'd like to have more rest, but unfortunately with a busy lifestyle, that doesn't always work the way you want it to. But yeah, I mean, you know, it's like with any sport, you need to have rest and recovery in order to be able to allow your muscles in your body to recuperate so that you're really at the top form for when it comes time to be, you know, at that pinnacle of action. So these guys will be doing their best to get to the top positions in their respective nations, whether it be Poland or Germany or BeNeLux, where we're at now, so that when they do come to the World Championships or the European Championships, that they will be peaking, as they say. So,
well, Troy,
yeah, that's what we're looking for now.
Let me give you a rest. We're going to go into a commercial.
Accu-power by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers. Een perfect gazon en meer tijd voor je tuinprojecten. Robotmaaiers by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers.
Well, Troy and me have filled up our accos and we're getting ready for the standing block chop. What standing block chop is all about, well, we'll show you now. Right after we've shown you the overall standing. Troy, is that a bit of a surprise for you?
No, because it's always sort of, you know, it mixes up as the disciplines go through, and we're coming into the third discipline now where we see that you know, Koen Martens, who was the overall leader after the first discipline and did hold on to it for a portion of the second discipline, has now been moved down to third place overall. So, yeah, and like we said, anything can happen. But, you know, this is also an important discipline coming up, the standing block chop.
Oh, yeah.
Because here's where the guys that are proficient at this particular discipline can gain some points. And remember, we got a certain number of guys that are going to be moving on to round two, and the rest are going to get eliminated from competition here. So that's what's going to be telling to see who is going to move into round two is the standing block chop.
Standing block chop. At the standing block chop, the felling of a tree with an axe is simulated. A vertically positioned wooden block with a diameter of 30 centimeters has to be cut through both sides. A powerful and precise swing with the axe is the premise of a good result.
Standing block chop. Ready for the start list, Troy? I am.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Let's take a closer look. In heat number 1, we'll have Florent van Remdonk take on François Laberechts. In heat 2, Arno Gottsmet against Bernd Berners. In heat 3, Edwin Dost and Eugene Gerders. In heat 4, Robin Cuvelier and Redsmer Knoll. Heat 5, Elko de Beer and Martin Cuvelier. In heat 6, we will see Ben Tepstra and Rick van Drielen. And in heat number 7, Martin Harms and Koen Martens.
Well, standing block chop is yeah, like I said, this is going to be an important one in round one because it is the final discipline in round one. And here's where we're going to see who can gain the points to make the last minute adjustments to get into round two. And at the moment, Koen Martens, he's not in a risk position, but there are a couple of guys that are on the bubble that need to pay attention here. For instance, Edwin Doost is down there. He needs to really do something here, especially considering that he had a DQ earlier on in the underhand chop. He still has an opportunity to move up if he has a really good standing block chop, but it's... yeah, he's very much in a risk position and on the bubble. So, yeah, let's see how this standing block chop does and if we have some major changes in the overall or if it stays status quo.
And it'd be interesting to find out what you guys think. So hashtag STIHL Timbersports, hashtag KissMyAxe. We're very interested to see your opinion on what's happening right now here at the National BeNeLux Championships. And of course, some funny picks are always well received. But that is time for going back to the sports, back to the competition, and back to heat number one.
All right, so there you see the blocks are ready for our standing block chop, and we'll bring out our first pairing in heat number one, Florent van Remdonk. Now, our information says 68, but his graphic always says 67, so let's call him 67 3/4. Nevertheless, impressive no matter how you look at it. And next up, battling him in heat number one will be Francois Lambrechts. So personal bests for both of these guys are up above the minute mark. Just to give you an idea of where the world record is at for the standing block chop, 11:03. That's
unreal. That is unreal.
An amazing time. That's held by Matt Kogar from the USA. He got that back in 2018. The BeNeLux national record is 18:54, held by none other than Koen Martens. So
that's
we know
not too bad as
this
well.
is a discipline that he can definitely benefit from having skills on it. Here we go with our first heat. Van Remdonk, Lambrechts.
Go!
Van Remdonk. I don't know if he got in there a little bit too early. We'll see when it comes down to competition control. And Lambrechts, a big hop by that blade from Van Remdonk. That's twice now, as his angle was just a little bit too much. And that's going to get in his head a little bit as he tries to reposition and re-angle that blade. You can't have it too steep, otherwise it'll skip off the block. But if you don't have the right angle, you're not going to be cutting in appropriately. And now Lambrechts moves to the other side, gingerly around the blocks and pieces of timber that have fallen off of there as he slabs out. And on the far side, Van Remdonk just passing the 40-second mark as he finally moves over to the backside of his block. Lambrechts still pushing through as we pass the 50-second mark here. Francois Lambrechts. Now we are just over the minute mark here for both of these gentlemen. Let's see if we can get a block down in under their best times, or if it's going to go over. It looks like 105, and now it's 112.92 for the standing block chop for Francois Lambrechts. And Florent van Remdonk has to be finished very soon, or that he's going to go over the allotted time or the limit. And there he does it. But he does get past the time limit. So that means a DQ for him, and that is unfortunate. So he went over the time, and you can see that's some disappointment, but he can be proud of being out there with these guys and competing nevertheless. Thumbs up for Francois Lambrechts for his cut, and he has a time of 1:12.70. And we'll definitely see these times dropping as we get deeper into this competition. And as we know, Koen Martens has the national record, and therefore is a guy to be keeping a close eye on. Now, watch here. Remdonk. Well, we're not going to get that angle, unfortunately, but that axe skipped a couple of times for him. And Lambrechts was just doing a good job. Here's the final cut from Lambrechts, Francois, and there from Remdonk. Unfortunately for him, it was just too slow. So in the overall standings, Koen Martens, who still has yet to compete, moves into second place behind Elko de Beer. Lambrechts is now sitting in third place, but I'm not sure that's going to last very long. With our next heat coming out onto stage, will be heat number 2 with Arno Goldschmidt and Bert Berners. So here comes Arno Goldschmidt, who was DQ'd in the 2 previous disciplines, so now he's really got to make it work if he wants to get some points out of this competition at all. Doesn't seem overly concerned. He's a little bit too relaxed in my opinion, but hey, you know, everybody's got their own way of doing things. And now Bert Berners coming out onto stage. He looks quite focused as he gets ready to go into standing block chop in heat number 2. Personal best for both of these guys, pretty close together actually. And same situation, you can see looping up that axe head to make sure that those first few hits aren't stuck in the block. I don't know, it almost looks like Arno might have given up hope. So let's see if he can pull it together in this one and have a good time.
3, 2, 1, go!
Almost lost sight of Goldschmidt's block there with the big slabs coming off there, doing some nice precise hits. And there we see Berners also getting really deep in. His backswing is a little bit shorter, but it seems to be working for him as he is getting some nice pieces off of that block. And I believe he might be, oh no, I was wrong there. It's going to be Goldschmidt going over to the other side first. He's looking to try and beat his best time of 58.40. Berners' best time of 54.06. They're coming in on the 40-second mark here now. Oh, big catch by Goldschmidt as he gets that axe caught in there. And Berners now just nearing 50 seconds, passing it. That's looking a little wiggly now. Finally going to get through there. One more hit should do it. No, I'm going to be calling 2. Yes, there it is. 1:00:45 for Bert Berners, and Arno Goldschmidt struggling as he finally gets that last hit to block it at 1:11:22. So far so good, and hopefully no DQ for Arno Goldschmidt as he'll get some points out of this no matter what. But I don't think we're going to see him in the next round. In fact, I'm pretty positive about that. And you can see he's not really using his hips on the swing. He's using more of his arms. Meanwhile, here we see Berners taking a little step back, twisting his hips onto the other side. This looks better on the backside for Goldschmidt as he gets his whole body involved in the situation. But, you know, when you get tired, getting the whole body working is a little bit more difficult, and these guys have gone through 2 disciplines already, and you can see the big exhales on each hit by Berners there. Nice big slab coming off. And on the backside, it was like a couple, 3 more hits to finally get it down. He took a brief pause when he thought that block was going to fall, then had to do 1 more hit, and finally got it off the top in a time of 1:00:36 adjusted, so that puts him at the top of the standing block so far, with Goldschmidt with a 1:11:01 sitting in second place. So finally, Arno Goldschmidt's got some time and some points to speak of, but he is in 10th place at the moment, so we won't see him in the next round, unfortunately. And Bert Berners in 6th place. Looking good so far, but there's still quite a few more heats to go in this standing block chop. So the overall could well change. I think we can be guaranteed of it, Marcus.
Yeah, and just like you said, like Arno Goldschmidt told us, it's not just about the points. Just like STIHL TIMBERSPORTS in general is not just about axes and saws. It's also about the wood, the premium wood.
TIMBERSPORTS uses wood as a natural product. It is therefore especially important to maintain fair competition conditions and that the wood is sustainably grown.
Hi, my name's Spike Milton, Global Sports Director for STIHL Timbersports. Together with Head of Wood, Mr. Bart Jensen, we have a wealth of knowledge and experience with long-term wood management.
We have different partners for finding the good wood, and here we are on one of the plantations of our partner this year.
One of the biggest challenges that I actually have as part of my role is to work with our wood suppliers. There are some beautiful young trees. These young trees are the future. For us, we have to find consistent and fair wood.
The international TIMBERSPORTS competitions mainly use fast-growing poplar wood from certified plantations, as well as white pine.
After all our STIHL TIMBERSPORTS competitions, the spent wood is collected and recycled. A great example of this is wood pellets for biomass to be used for green energy.
Always great to see what wood is all about. Troy, I mean, you've been working with wood for many, many years. What makes the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS competition so special?
Well, like you saw in the in the story there, Bart and Spike, they spent a lot of time searching for the right type of wood, the right size of wood, the right moisture. They were checking the moisture in the wood, and all of the wood for each individual competition is taken from the same sets of trees that they take out of these various plantations. So at the end of the day, that means for the athletes that the wood is as fair as possible. Now, how it affects the way that the athletes are able to cut the wood is if the wood is a bit more moist or if it's really dry, it's going to affect how the axes and saws are reacting with the wood itself. And as we see here in BeNeLux, it's a bit wet.
Yeah, but so it's just like in skiing. You can say if you have sunny weather, the snow might be faster. If it's moisture and cold, kind of not so dry, you're going to slow down. And with the wood, it's pretty similar.
Similar idea, right? Okay. So I mean, basically, what they're looking for is a nice balance of moisture in the wood, so that it doesn't get chippy and crumbly. But at the same time, you don't want to have it too wet, so that it's like trying to hit through cement. And also, they pay a lot of attention in making sure that the wood that comes to the competitions has no knots in it at all, because trying to cut through a knot, especially with an axe, is really difficult. And you saw there on a couple of occasions where the axe skipped off of the block because of a bad angle. Well, a knot can cause that to happen even if the angle is good. So the wood is very important, and that's why these guys take such care in making sure that the wood that comes to these competitions is fair for everybody that's participating.
So let's get back to a fair competition right now.
All right, Edwin Dost going up against Eugen Geres
in this final round.
Yeah, in rounds number
final
one.
Discipline of round number one.
Round number one, yeah.
Stand to your
couple
timber.
of pretty evenly matched guys here. Let's see how it breaks down as
go.
they get going. Here we go. Edwin Dost a little bit faster with the axe than Geres. But Geres is slabbing out some nice big pieces on his block. So as you say, he's got some good wood there. Not sure if that's Edwin Dost moving over to the other side of his block first. It is not. It's Geres. So Geres was quicker over to the other side as he slabbed out some nice big pieces. And seems like he's got some pretty precise hits going on there. Edwin Dost still working on the front side of his blocks from what I see. Yeah. Or has he actually? No, he has actually moved over to the other side. It's he's already cutting through the backside. So there we go. Geres with a 47.07. So that puts him in first place in standing block chop with Edwin Dost. Still trying to get through it. One more hit should do it. No, my count is way off today. 57.06 is second place for Edwin Dost. So Geres in the top spot with a time to beat of 47.07. Edwin Dost in second place with a 57.06. All right, taking a look back here. And that was Dost having a quick check there to see what was happening with his block and how much farther he had to go. And just aiming just to try and chop that thing through. And there, close up to you, is Gerdes. You could see pushing off of that back foot, twisting his hips, and then putting everything from his core muscles and his core strength into the blows on that block. Chopping down, chopping up, then chopping down again. And he actually finally did get through in a 46.78 time. And it was just a couple of seconds after that that Edwin Dost joined him, dropping the top off of that block. So Gerdes in the top of the standing block so far, with Dost right behind him. And let's take a look at the overall standings now. So Dost moves into second place, Gerdes in fourth. De Beer still on top, with Martens moving down into third place. But either of those guys have yet to cut in the standing block. Our next heat coming out, heat number 4, Robin Cuvelier up against Redmer Knoll. Robin Cuvelier coming out first. Personal best for him in standing block is a 37.86. That is definitely a respectable time. And he's joined by Redmer Knoll, who's coming out. His personal best on this event is 34.03. So if times were the consideration here, then Redmer Knoll would have the advantage. 10 years difference between the two. 10 years experience as well, perhaps. Let's see. All right. Last couple of practice swings for Robin Cuvelier.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Knoll with his axe getting stuck in there quite quickly early on. Now he's got that flow going, getting into his rhythm, and you could see the speed and the power of his hits as he's trying to be as accurate as possible. And now moving over, Redmer Knoll moves over to the other side quickly. He could have a good time today. That block is looking very nice for him as well. Cuvelier finally moves over to the other side on his, but Redmer Knoll is going to have a good time. There it is. It goes down in 26.76, a personal best for Redmer Knoll. And Cuvelier trying to get his down. His personal best, 37.86. That's not going to happen today, but he finally blocks it in a time of 26.99. Now, wait a minute. That's going to be adjusted for sure, though, because Redmer Knoll was at 26.76. That's a personal best, and Robin Cuvelier was still cutting. There we go. Adjusted time just came up on my screen now, a 40.22. So Redmer Knoll with a fantastic effort today. Looking back at the slow-mo. 2 hits down below, 2 hits on top, and a good slab out by Cuvelier. And then you can see on the backside there, on the far side of the stage, Redmer Knoll absolutely putting everything into it. And here the last few hits, 1 stick by him, and then a couple of last hits. He skips out the side of that one. He wanted to have that a little more centered, but nevertheless gave a pirouette hit as that last hit drops the block in a time of 26.49. Still a good time by Robin Cuvelier, who is sitting in second place in the standing block with a 40.22, just ahead of Eugen Gerdes with a 46.78. And with the personal best, that's a great job by Redmer Knoll. Let's see how that changes the overall. Ooh, look at that. Knoll and Cuvelier on top, with De Beers and Koen Martens being shoved down to third and fourth place. And that means a little bit of fun could still to come for these guys. We're moving on to Heat 5 shortly. And Heat 5 is going to be a good one because that's Elko De Beer against Martin Cuvelier.
Well, and Redmer Knoll, Discipline 1, personal best. Discipline 2, personal best. Discipline 3, personal best. This might turn out historic for him. And talking about history, look at these lovely pictures right at the back of our studio. It's time to take a closer look at the history of the original extreme sport. I'm sure you're going to enjoy this.
Expert woodsman who can cut down a tree more easily than most people can chop one up. When it really comes to tackling large lumps, you can't beat the men of the forestry companies.
An axeman's gathering.
This is Thomas losing the loss that gets it.
And that means we're going right back to the competition. Standing block chops, heats 5, 6, and 7.
Stage crew still doing a little bit of last-minute preparations there, and I just wanted to mention that Redmark Knoll actually was the winner of the 2020 Dutch National Championship, so he got first place at the Dutch Cup, and we mentioned off the top of the show, Marcus, that he was one of the guys that could very well challenge for the overall win here against Koen Martin. So it's already showing with 3 personal bests on the day that he is definitely on an upward stroke.
Yeah, and he definitely wants this, as you can see. So it might end up with the Belgium champion taking on the Dutch champion. So
which would be fantastic.
Oh, yes. Yep. And let's not forget, we've got the team competition coming up tonight on a different stream as well.
Yeah.
That's going to be very entertaining as well, yeah.
All right, Elko de Beer will be going up against Martin Cuvelier in this one. Elko de Beer, personal best of 29.13. Elko de Beer, 29.13. Martin Cuvelier with a 27.47. But as we've seen, these personal bests can switch and change. And, the wood isn't cutting as quick today as we've seen it cut in the past. So that's, an environmental aspect as well that's going to change the times for these guys. So it's not like they're not cutting well. It's just there's so many different factors that are playing a role here. All right, let's get at it.
Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1. Go!
All right, here we go. Martin Cuvelier, quick with his axe, slabbing out nicely. And you can see the intensity in every hit that he puts down here as he gets in nice and quick on those first few cuts. Looking for those precise hits like that one right there as he switches to the other side. Martin Cuvelier now on the other side. Elko de Beer also on the other side. Oh, this could be close between the two of them. I'm going to say Cuvelier looks a little bit closer, but de Beer is also digging deep and hard on the backside of that log. A little skip off his block. Elko de Beer gets it stuck now, and Martin Cuvelier and Elko de Beer battling hard to try and see who drops that block first. And it looks like it might be Cuvelier. Oh, yeah, it's going to go down. Cuvelier 42.50 and a 42.18 for Elko de Beer. I didn't see Elko's last hit, so it looks like he did drop it before Cuvelier. And he did, in fact, 42.18 to 42.50. Wow, that's not much difference between those two guys. A really evenly matched heat there in standing block. So first few hits there by Elko de Beer. And you can see as we get into the action a bit more and in these slow-mos, you can really see how the guys are pushing off of that back leg, twisting the hips to try and activate the core muscles of the body and not just do everything from the arms. Nice extension on the arms, grabbing the axe handle as far down as possible and trying to get as precise an angle and hit as you can. Now there is an example coming up right now of a real nice precise hit into that block on the line as Cuvelier moves to the other side. And from this angle, I hope we get to see the final blows here. Yep, there goes Elko de Beer with that great cut and a final time of 41.93. Still not quite as fast as Redmark Knoll with a personal best 26.49. So that's the time to beat in standing block here. And there we see de Beer, Cuvelier, third and fourth. How does that change them in the overall? Oop, de Beer moves to the top again.
Cuvelier in 5th place, and Redmar Knoll moves down into 2nd place. So 32 points for De Beer at the moment in the overall, and Redmar Knoll with 29, so he's not that far back. Koen Martens has 21 points, so he needs to have a good heat number 7, but before that, heat number 6 with Ben Terpstra, who's coming out onto the stage now. He's going up against a power hitter in Rick van Drielen. Now, Ben Terpstra has the height here. He's a tall man. Here comes Rick van Drielen now. Rick van Drielen, on the other hand, is a powerful man. Let's take a look at their numbers. Rick van Drielen, 187 centimeters tall, 125 kilograms. Terpstra, 2 meters, 100 kilograms. So Terpstra, if he can use that height to his advantage, will have a wide stance and be well back from the log as he tries to get long, clean, precise hits. Rick, on the other hand, will be looking to use that power and his experience and get moving quickly with that axe. Let's see how these two guys match up with each other as we get ready for heat number 6 in standing block.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
You can see Terpstra slabbing out some nice ones. Rick van Drielen, though, he isn't wasting any time making those quick hits, choking up on the axe just a little bit as he moves around to the other side quickly, and now Terpstra has moved over to the other side of his. Big chunks coming out of Rick van Drielen, so we could have a very nice time. Fun van Drielen here. Terpstra looking good as well. Van Drielen, he's getting through the backside of that. Gets it down in 28.81. Nice time for Rick van Drielen. And Ben Terpstra should get 2 more hits out of this if he can aim it right. And whoa! Just a hair holding on to that block as he drops it in 37.28. So Rick van Drielen, 2.32 seconds off pace, but in 2nd place at the moment behind Redmar Knoll in standing block chop. Ben Terpstra with a 37.28 moves up into 3rd place in standing block chop. Let's see how that affects the overall when we get our calculation after the slow-mos here. Let's watch this again. Nice clean start by Terpstra there as he gets some big slabs out of those first few hits, but you can see on the backside Rick van Drielen making shorter, heavier hits on the block, and actually got through there to start things off fairly quickly and was just ahead moving over to the other side of the block. And here, the final blows from Rick van Drielen to get that top block off in a nice time of 28.85. Another angle here from our camera guy, almost getting hit by those slabs coming off of the block, and there it goes. Nice job by the veteran Rick van Drielen with a 28.85, and Ben Terpstra with a 38.43, sitting in 3rd place at the moment. So there you see Van Drielen and Terpstra, 2nd and 3rd in standing block chop. Let's see how that changes the overall. De Beer holding on to the top still. Knoll in 2nd place, and Van Drielen and Terpstra in 3rd and 4th. So they're in good position with 1 more heat to go. They should be safe, but the next heat has Martin Harms and Koen Martens in the mix.
You know, sometimes people ask me, hey Marcus, your studio, it's so tidy, it's so clean. You want to know my secret? Well, I'll tell you just now.
AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers.
Well, now that you know my secret, it's time for the final heat and the favorites, Koen Martens. Troy, do you think this is his discipline?
Well, yeah, I mean, Koen Martens holds the BeNeLux national record for standing block chop, so that tells you everything you need to know about the fact that he is absolutely capable of rocking and rolling in this particular discipline. So if he can
put down a very good time, which we expect that he will do, then it's going to mean he's going to take over the top spot again.
And he seemed very confident.
He seemed very confident. Although he didn't have the top spot in the stock saw, he was still solid, and we'll see how he does here.
Let's go for it.
So pretty evenly matched, these two guys. Both the same, well, roughly the same age. Martin Harms a bit older, a bit heavier. Has the advantage of weight here, but Koen Martens is such a slick competitor.
To your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Watch the axe speed of Koen Martens. Martin Harms, oh wow, he's also really quick with the axe. Big stick by Martin Harms though, but he gets a nice big slab out there. Working well on this side as he moves over to the other side of his block, but Koen Martens is already there working on the backside. Oh, Koen Martens, a little bit too expectant that he's going to get that down, but he's got himself a 24-13 time that puts him into the lead in standing block chop. That means he wins this discipline. Martin Harms with a 29-61, fourth place in standing block chop, and that means we're going to have some changes again in the overall standings. Koen Martens should be back on top. Koen Martens here, you could see, that's not Koen Martens, excuse me. Doctor, yeah, it is. You could see he's just putting every bit of effort as mentally, physically, absolutely capable here as he does a great job. Martin Harms on the far side. Koen Martens was actually over to the backside of his block after Martin Harms. No, he was there before him. And then a little bit of over-expectation from Koen Martens as that block just decided to hold on for 2 more hits after he thought he had it down. Let's look at this again here. There, he looks at it. Oh, doesn't go down. Whoa, this hold on by a thread. Damn it, let's get that thing off. And finally he does. A big grin on his face as he looks at the time. He's like, yeah, okay, I'll take it. Why not? But a good job by him nevertheless. So
I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, Koen Martens takes over the win in standing block. Redmer Knoll in second place. That's the overall standings. There you go. De Beer, who was in the lead, now moves to third place. Koen Martens has the top spot with Redmer Knoll sitting in second place. So there's that battle that we're hoping is going to come and start brewing for us with Redmer Knoll and Koen Martens going head-to-head against each other here.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning Koen Martens, I really enjoyed it. Like, oh yeah, done and dusted. No, it's not. And then, come on. And still, getting the top spot. So credits to this man. He is really prepared maybe to, defend his title. So let's find out more from our field reporter. Davey, if you can hear us, I'm sure you've got an interview partner that we're very much looking forward to hear from. Also, we're getting the analysis first.
Yeah.
Troy, you got to help me on this one. So
you could see here,
Koen was the fastest. No doubt about that.
Yeah, he was the fastest, and you could see he just has such precise hits. Like each hit is perfectly marked. That one's a little bit off, so I've kind of shot myself in the foot with that call. But you could see there, each time he hits, he's just really on point with each of those hits, precisely slabbing out nicely. And here you could see, sets his axe in, gets around to the other side, and then starts on the back side of that block with some nice big hits. And you can already see it starting to wiggle on the top a little bit. But the funny part was, at the end of his set of hits, he thought he had it down, and the axe swings through. Wait for it here. There it is. Swings through. He thought he had it then.
Bam.
Like, okay, that's got it now. And then it holds on by just a thread. And he's like, got to get that down. One more hit.
Take this.
You can imagine in slow-mo, it looks like it's 4 or 5 seconds, but in real time, it's maybe a second that he has to think about it, react, and knock it down. And that changed his time. But still, the fastest time on the day. And he's your winner in standing block chop. And that means that he is now back to being the overall leader as we move to round 2, where he will also be competing.
And we have an interview partner for our running reporter, Davey. Can you hear us? If yes, who's with you? So Davey is still waiting for us, Troy, obviously.
Ben Terpstra,
yes.
6th position in the overall standings. Are you happy with this discipline? Yeah, not happy enough. I wish I could be in the top 3. That should be the best, but yeah, I'm through in the next round, so that's the most important thing. So now just pick up my points and see how it goes.
What's for you the most valuable skill in this discipline, in the standing block chop?
Standing block chop, yeah, if you have a good axe that cuts really deep.
Yeah.
I used a banana most of the time. That's a good axe, but this axe was sticking so much and you can't keep the pace up. Every time when you put it in, you can't smoothly put it back, so that's not the way you want it.
No, of course, yeah. I saw a lot of strength coming out of the hips. Is that a movement that you have been exercising the last few months? Because I heard you are going to be a father soon.
Yeah.
Congratulations, man. That's wonderful news. Is it your first baby?
Yeah, it's going to be my first.
Okay.
Yeah. It's coming in the beginning of December, so yeah.
The beginning of December?
Yeah, so 2 more months now,
Okay.
so yeah, we're getting close, so...
All right.
Yeah.
Do you have a special message for your wife, maybe right now?
Yeah. Love you, baby.
Love you, baby. Okay. Yeah. All right, thanks for the interview and good luck.
Okay, man. Thank you.
Marcus and Troy, what I want to say, I like the image of Troy standing behind or standing on his pupitre, as they say. It looks like a teacher to me, Troy.
Yeah, trying to educate a little bit back here, but it's not really working so well. Marcus?
Well, I've been educated a lot. I mean, Davey, you telling us about hip movements and somebody being a father soon. This man up here telling me everything about, axe movement and stuff. But, talking about those sharp axes, I know somebody who definitely has one. That's Jason Wynyard. And we have a new magazine on YouTube coming up for you very soon. It's called Mr. TIMBERSPORTS. And, make sure not to miss out on this because this is going to be very special.
TIMBERSPORTS World Champion, the Colossus, Jason Wynyard!
Jason Wynyard is Mr. TIMBERSPORTS. He showed everyone how good he is by winning TIMBERSPORTS 9 times.
I grew up watching Jason Wynyard. I would always pretend I was him.
Man, I would just love the opportunity to compete with this guy. It's a super fierce competition and one that we all want to win.
I believe I can beat anyone in this sport.
Come on, Liverpool! Make some noise! An amazing hit on that block! 2-1.
Oh yeah, make sure to subscribe to the channel. It's really worth it. It's going to be absolutely amazing. Just like our highlights from round 1. They are coming up next.
Single buck. The single buck is a one-man saw about 2 meters long. With this, the athletes have to cut off a complete disc of a 46-centimeter thick wooden block. The perfect interplay between rhythm and strength is the key to success. The 2-meter-long cross-cut saw used for the single buck discipline is made especially for competition. A series of consistently patterned 10-centimeter-long teeth are cut with a laser on one side of the saw and then hand-sharpened. Saw teeth are divided into 2 types, cutters and rakers, just like on the old-school saws. The saw weighs about 5 kilos and its base price starts at around €1,500.
So we're moving directly into round number 2 and the single buck competition. Let's take a look at the starting order. We've got 4 heats because there's only 8 athletes left. And Martin Cuvelier will take on Robin Cuvelier. So the brothers are going to have a duel in this first heat. In heat number 2, Pen Terpstra will take on Rick van Drielen. Heat 3 will consist of Martin Harms and Ilko de Beer. And in heat number 4, Redmer Knoll and Kuhn Martens will rock and roll. So let's get ready for the single buck. I can't wait. Troy, the Kaiser is ready.
Yeah. All right. And you could see those shoes that the guys are wearing with, it's like spikes on the bottom. It's almost like track shoes. It's ordered to give them as much grip as they can possibly have when they're using these big 2-meter long saws. Now, I think personally, this is probably the discipline that is the most finicky, except for maybe the hot saw, because you have to have the perfect angle with this saw, and it's such a beast. It's 2 meters long, and you have to be perfect with your technique. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right. Choppy start by... Now we've got Rick van Drielen listed there on the right-hand side, but I'm not sure that's correct because it is Rick van Drielen, okay. And Martin Cuvelier. Oh, Rick van Drielen with a great time of 16:39. Martin Cuvelier. Oh, a little bit of a stick there, and that's what I was talking about with that particular discipline and the single buck. It is so difficult to keep that flow going on that long saw. And Rick van Drielen, he had a really quick set of starting cuts to get that saw moving and going, and then moved into longer strokes. And watching the replay, when we could take a better look at it, how his technique worked to his advantage. So here we see Rick van Drielen, focus, getting ready. Quick, sharp, really short cuts to start, and then gets into those long, flowy strokes. Kept the flow going, kept the angle of that saw moving, and then a nice final cut. So a good drop by Rick van Drielen in 16:20. By the way, his personal best, 14 and change. So not that far off for Rick in this one. And yeah, we had a little bit of a switch around in our lineups there. So Rick van Drielen winning this one, Martin Cuvelier in second place. And in the overall standings, Rick takes over the top spot with Cuvelier moving into third place. And our next heat getting lined up will be Ben Terpstra going up against Robin Cuvelier. So Robin Cuvelier moved to the second heat against Ben Terpstra. Remember, these 2-meter long saws, you have to really have technique because of the sweeper teeth and the cutter teeth, and you know, it's cutting and sweeping in both directions and pulling out material. And so if you have the wrong angle, it's going to get hooked up. Those teeth are 10 centimeters long, and it really makes a difference to just keep the flow going as best you can. And then now we've got Ben Terpstra and Robin Cuvelier. Robin Cuvelier right there, setting up his saw on the block. Now, he'll take a few strides or strokes to get that saw set. Then our judge will check the depth of his starting cut to make sure it's fair and compare that with Ben Terpstra, who has just set his saw. And now he's good to go. We'll get over to the other side as Cuvelier gets his saw in position and ready to go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
All right, here we go.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
All right, Terpstra and Cuvelier, both of them getting into it right away. Terpstra grimacing, using that entire saw. Cuvelier doing his best. Terpstra gets hooked up a little bit. Cuvelier, nice long strokes from him. Terpstra looking like he's going to get through there. He's really using his 2 meters to his advantage. Great time for Terpstra, 20-21. Cuvelier, oh no, he breaks it off. He's got to cut that last little section off for it to count. That is a difficult thing for him, as keeping that saw in position there on that last little piece of the cookie to get it down. Should be fair now, as he did cut off that last section. All is looking okay, but of course it's going to come to a judge's call.
So it is under review. We did see the cookie break off, but he did go back and cut that last section out. And there we see Terpstra with a great cut of 1997. And it turns out that it will be a DQ on stand number 2 for Robin Cuvelier. Unfortunately, he had a false start, so it had nothing to do with the cookie breaking and that last little piece being cut off. He started a little bit too early. Let's take a look back at... Oh, yeah, right there. It was just a little bit too early on the start for Cuvelier. And Terpstra just was super clean on his cuts. You could see him using that whole saw. The tip of the saw disappears into the block as he cuts through. Great job by Terpstra there. So Ben Terpstra with a 19.97 is sitting in second place, and there's that little piece that was left over from the cookie. Now normally, had there not been a false start, that would have been fair to finish off the cut. But unfortunately, we have Cuvelier with a DQ for a false start, so no points for him. And Terpstra sitting in second place now in the overall with Rick van Drielen on top. And that is after 2 heats in the single buck. And we move on to heat number 3 in single buck with Martin Harms and Elko de Beer. And we are rocking and rolling through these single bucks. I'm not sure I could survive the single buck. These are just beasts, these saws. 2 meters long, 10 centimeter long teeth, sweepers and cutters. And yeah, I mean, it's just a heavy amount of work in order to get this saw working, started, and imagine if it gets stuck or bowed and then you have to restart it. It's just draining.
It's ready. Stand to your timber.
All right, here we go. 3, Martin Harms, 2, Elko de Beer.
Go!
So both of them opting for choppy quick starts, and then Martin Harms gets into those long strokes using his entire core strength to try and get through there nice and clean. Elko de Beer lagging a bit behind. Martin Harms gets stuck though, gives Elko de Beer a chance to catch up. Martin Harms though, he gets stuck now again. Oh, Elko de Beer has an opportunity here. Elko de Beer gets stuck. Martin Harms finally gets it through, and Elko de Beer drops it just slightly behind. But the time hasn't stopped on our screen, but we have 22.75 and 23.72 respectively for Martin Harms and Elko de Beer. Wow, that was crazy. Martin Harms getting the saw stuck 3 times, no less, and Elko de Beer had an opportunity to catch up, and then he got his saw stuck, and boy, oh boy, it came close at the end. Adjusted times now, we're looking at it. Martin Harms with a 22.42 sitting in 3rd place. Elko de Beer with a 23.46 in 4th place. You can see here those short, choppy cuts to start that saw moving, and then getting into those long strokes. And you can watch on the left-hand side of your screen right here, we get a stick by Martin Harms. Yeah, the angle was just a little bit too steep. And then he stuck it again near the bottom of his cut. That gave Elko de Beer an opportunity to catch up. And right there it sticks again. And then Elko de Beer, he kept going, and then he got stuck on his stroke. And right there, a quick stick, but the last cut by Martin Harms gets through, and Elko de Beer not that far behind. Wow, close. So 3 and 4 by Harms and de Beer. And if we look at the overall standings now, de Beer should move into... Oh, that's strange there. So de Beer sits in 3rd place with Martin Harms in 2nd. Van Drielen still on the top of the leaderboard with 1 more heat to go, and that's Redmer Knoll and Koen Martens. Now this is the heat that we've been waiting for. These 2 guys winning of their respective countries, and now going for the BeNeLux Championship. Redmer Knoll, the young guy at 27, he won the Netherlands Championship, the Dutch Championship, and Koen Martens won the Belgian Championship, and now they are going head-to-head for the first time today in the single buck in round 2. Who will come out on top? This is national pride at stake now. Bard Jansen
Quick check with his gauge to make sure that the saw is in the right position and right depth. Redmer Knoll setting his. Struggling a little bit to get those teeth into the position. So notice Koen Martens, his saw is very far in to the cut length, as opposed to Redmer Knoll, who's got his saw set mid-saw on the block.
3, 2,
whose technique will be advantageous here. So Knoll, short, cuts. Martens straight into it with those long strokes, and it looks like the advantage goes to Martens here as he is using every ounce of that saw, cutting through from tip to tail. Koen Martens looking good. Knoll, not that bad, but Koen Martens with a 15:17. Wow, fastest time of the day by a good second. Redmer Knoll struggling on the end there, and oh, that's going to be trouble for him. It looks like he might have to go back and cut that. I saw that there was still some material left. Could it just be threads, or is there actually a piece of the block left? We'll have to wait for Bart Jansen to give a thumbs up. Doesn't look like there's any problems so far, though, but it's not the result that Redmer Knoll wanted with a 25:07. That's a personal best for him, so obviously not his strongest discipline, but Koen Martens with a ripper of a time of 14:97 takes the win here in single buck. Let's look at this again. So there you see on the left-hand side, short, quick start strokes, and then just to get that saw going, and he's got his lube and wedger right there. That sounded dirty. And there you see Koen Martens with long strokes, using every ounce of his core strength. Really wide stance as he draws that saw through in that last push. Wow, fantastic. Great time for him with an adjusted time of 14:97. He is 1 23/100ths of a second faster than Rick van Drielen. So he wins the single buck, and that's another top ranking for him. And he will undoubtedly move to the top of the leaderboard again. Here we see the single buck results. Koen Martens, Rick van Drielen, Ben Terpstra, 1, 2, and 3. Great job by Terpstra. And in the overall standings, there you see, Martens, van Drielen, Harms de Beer, and Redmer Knoll now down in 5th place. So he has got some work cut out for him, Marcus, as we move to Springboard.
Oh, wow. Koen Martens, very impressive, I have to say. And Davey, if you can hear us, we hope that you are with an interview partner right now. There he is. Are you good in lip reading, Troy?
Not a personal best this time, but yeah, the best discipline you have is single buck. So what went wrong?
What went wrong? The heart was very wood.
Okay.
And Koen Martens was better.
Okay.
That's the thing.
All right.
Now, it is really hard wood, and for me personally, it's very hard to do this without an audience. I really miss the audience.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hope next year we'll be there with the whole crew, because the audience is the crew too. One big family.
All right.
And maybe those 2 seconds I'm missing up here.
So the cheers from the audience, that's something you really miss right now.
Yeah.
All right.
I love to interact with the audience.
Mm-hmm.
So hello. Very clean, but it's not the real thing.
No, of course. You have the BeNeLux record on this discipline.
Yeah.
So I hoped on a better time. But what do you do when the saw gets stuck into the wood? Is there something you can do as a lumberjack then?
Well, the thing is, if you start out with the first 2 strokes, you have to keep your saw underneath your shoulders.
Okay.
And if you don't do that, you just lift it too much, and then you get a hang up. And if you're not concentrated enough, then you have that problem, and mostly it's at the end because then the wood gets thinner.
All right.
And then you get a hookup.
Yeah,
So-
but then we have another problem, like we saw with Robin Cuvelier.
Yeah.
His cookie just cut up.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Because it's a long saw, it bends and it just breaks the wood.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what's the perspective for the next discipline for you?
Oh, I'm just happy to be there, and at the moment, if I get my springboard underneath 120, I'll be happy, and then I advance to the hot saw, and that's my favorite discipline, not the single buck.
All right.
I love hot saw.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Thumbs up for Rick van Drielen. And now back to you guys.
Well, Rick, we miss the audience too, but we're really enjoying this competition so far. I've seen a lot of great efforts, and I think we're going to take a closer look at a very special effort now.
Yeah, here we see Koen Martens getting set up for his first few cuts. Now, we mentioned the different styles. Some guys start off with short, quick cuts, and Koen Martens, we saw him get right into it straight away with long, steady strokes, and you could see the tip of that saw disappearing into the block of wood, and that's really the telltale sign for somebody that's confident and has good flow and is, mentally ready. And that last final push, and look how deep he is in his legs there. It was all the difference maker for Koen Martens in that one.
This man is vicious. That is like vroom, vroom, really.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that could be a motor saw the way he worked it. Really, really good job.
And he knows he's in great shape. You can really see it from his face.
Yeah,
Absolutely amazing.
He's feeling good. He's feeling confident, and he's ready to go.
Well, so are we. We got Springboard coming up next, and all you need. Oh, I just heard we're going back on site before we're going to move on to the Springboard because we've got a Facebook contest coming up. So let's take a closer look.
And here with us, our project lead for STIHL TIMBERSPORTS Belgium, John Bosmans. You have something to tell us.
Yes, Davey, indeed. We had a Facebook contest for our BeNeLux fans. They could win this cordless garden pruner, a GTA 26. I will announce the winner now. We will announce this in French and in Dutch because we speak more languages in Belgium. Quelqu'un pouvait gagner une scie de jardin sur batterie GTA 26 ici. Le gagnant est malheureusement pas quelqu'un qui parle français. On va l'annoncer en néerlandais. Dus iemand kon een GTA-accu snoeischaar winnen vandaag via onze Facebook-contest. Dat was de persoon die vandaag de exacte tijd kon raden, of dichtst bij de tijd kon raden, de beste singlebug-tijd van vandaag. Dat was 14:97. En daar zat iemand spot on. En dat was Jan Tellegen uit Nederland. Jan, proficiat, jij wint een accu-zaag GTA 26. Wij contacteren jou binnenkort via e-mail en dan kan je bij jouw favoriete dealer deze zaag gaan afhalen. Veel plezier ermee. Congratulations.
A pruning machine for Jan.
I want one of those.
Yeah, and a translation, a short one. Congratulations, you just won yourself a STIHL GTA 26. Was that what you understood?
I got that. Good job.
Well, we're proceeding to Springboard as we mentioned, but let's take a closer look at the original bracket of the oval standing now. Troy, things have moved and changed and shuffled again.
A little bit, yeah. Also, we're looking at Martin or Koen Martens still on top of the leaderboard, or back on top of the leaderboard rather. But the one guy that we're a little bit surprised dropping down significantly after that single buck is Red Knoll.
Yeah, but he's still got a personal best.
He's
That's
still got
the
a
crazy
personal
thing about
best,
this.
and he dropped down. So that he got a personal best. Yay, great job! But he's got to pick up the pace on that one discipline, and clearly it wasn't his strongest discipline. But he's not out of it yet. And coming up next is the Springboard. The problem is Koen Martens is King Koen when it comes to the Springboard. He is very, very good at this discipline.
So that's going to be a tough man to beat. Let's take a closer look at everything you need to know about the Springboard.
Springboard. Springboard simulates the traditional way of felling trees, climbing up over thick roots. First, notches known as pockets are chopped into the log. 2 springboards are then anchored into these pockets. The athlete then climbs up to chop through a 27 centimeter thick block of wood in the fastest time possible.
And that, of course, means we are ready for the athletes. Let's take a closer look at the starting order in just a few moments.
I love the way that stage looks, creating their own forest on stage. It's amazing.
Creating yes, more or less. Here's the starting order. We've got the duel of the brothers this time. We hope that they're actually going to come out together in heat number 1.
Well,
Martin Cuvelier versus Robin Cuvelier. In heat 2, Ben Terpstra takes on Rick van Drielen. In heat number 3, we will get to see Martin Harms and Elko de Beer. And in heat 4, it will be Redmer Knoll against Koen Martens. So maybe in that direct confrontation, we'll see some more of Redmer Knoll, another personal best.
Well, again, in the final heat, Redmer Knoll goes up against Koen Martens. Now, I have to wonder how much Redmer Knoll is playing in his head. I'm going up against the champion from Belgium. But he knows he's the champion.
He's very good at this discipline.
He's the Dutch champion, and he's very good at this discipline. So there's got to be a little bit of game playing going on in his own head. So he's just got to get out of that mode and get into the springboard in his mind and really focus on what he's got to do to take down a guy in Koen Martens that's very, very strong in springboard.
And I think we need to focus on upcoming events, just to make sure that the tension stays. Here we have the competitions of 2020, which is actually not a bad number of competitions considering the COVID-19.
It's been busy.
Goes down. So we have been busy. You can see everything video on demand. There's been some great competitions that are worth watching, even if you've already seen it. I've watched some of them twice or 3 times. And of course, 8th of November, European Trophy, and 29th of November, the Individual World Championship here in Munich. Well, that's something you should not miss out on.
Absolutely not. It's going to be fantastic.
But now let's take another closer look at some of the scenes I think Troy needs to talk to me about.
So, Ben goes down on the way around, but he's not giving up. And he's looking good! Anyway! Ben Cumberland, a 13.06. Amazing. Officially. That is the world record to beat in the new setup. The monkey is off his back. Brayden Myers is your 2019 STIHL TIMBERSPORTS World Champion.
Troy, what does it take to become the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS World Champion 2020? That is my question.
Good wood, good cuts, and a lot of luck in some cases, absolutely. But, we're going to get a new champion hopefully this year, and we'll see how that all breaks down when we come into the end of November, and we have the Individual World Championship here in Munich.
Very much looking forward to that. As you can see in the background, the crew is working hard on getting everything set for the Springboard. I mean, they've done a great job so far. It's not really easy getting all those competitions in time, and so far I think they've done a tremendous job. What do you say?
Well, I think they've done a fantastic job, but what I like a lot here is they were intelligent about this. There's 4 heats, and they've got 4 stands out there, so that means they just need to change one stand when they just need to change the stands fairly quickly, and they're pretty good about it. So they've been really efficient on this particular event. Sometimes it takes a long time, and especially with the Springboard, you could see that it is quite the piece of equipment out there. They basically, like I said, built a small forest on stage that the guys have to set their springboards, get up, and do the work, right? So that's going to be interesting to see how quickly we can get through this one because, this is a very challenging discipline for sure.
Well, let's give him some more time. We've got another clip coming up for you, ladies and gentlemen, right now.
AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers. AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers.
Yep, some really nice pictures, and we're almost set and ready to go, but we've got some hashtags for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hashtag STIHL TimberSports, and of course my favorite hashtag for Troy, hashtag Kiss My Axe.
Nice.
Yeah.
Get involved.
Yeah, get involved. You know, send us your best pictures. Send us your thoughts about STIHL TimberSports, about the competition, about your favorite athletes. Anything will do. Or maybe even send us some pictures of yourself being an athlete. I should do one of those.
Yeah, I don't know if I could pass that one off on the bar.
Well, maybe you shouldn't. What about Springboard? Does everybody know everything about Springboard?
I don't know.
Sure. I'm not sure.
A pretty nuanced discipline as well. I mean, we're saying that a lot about all of the disciplines, but Springboard you really need to have. I mean, you know, you got guys that are up 2 meters above the ground with a sharp axe in their hand. You got to make sure that that top springboard is set right. And we talked a lot about in earlier events how setting the pocket quickly, putting your springboard in at the right angle, because if you have a springboard that's flat and you step on it, starts to sag like this, then you don't have the power that you need to really work that block and or to get your next set of pockets set. So, you know, having the right angle, making that first pocket done quickly. So optimal is a 4 to 6 hit pocket. We saw Sterling Hart in Stuttgart a few years ago. He had a 3-hit pocket on the first one, a 3-hit pocket on the second one, and he got the world record for springboard. So, you know, if you can get it done quickly, will we see a world record broken here today? I'm not sure. The way the wood's been active, I doubt it, but you know, beating Sterling Hart's world record is going to be difficult, but Koen Martens came pretty close, so he's the man to beat for this particular discipline. We'll see how he fares and just how everything will break down during Springboard here today. Because I mean, for me, I think it's probably the most difficult discipline from your headspace, from the physicality, and the fact that you're 2 meters above the ground with a razor-sharp axe in your hand, swinging.
It is a little crazy.
It is a little bit of a wiggly board that's going to be playing games in your mind. So,
understandably. Let's take a look at the starting order of springboards. So in Heat 1, Martin Cuvelier and Robin Cuvelier will take them brother duel on. In Heat 2, Ben Terspra and Eric van Drielen. Heat 3, Martin Harms and Elko de Baron. In Heat 4, Red McNoll and Koen Martens. We are ready for the Springboards competition. Let's rock and roll.
All right, keep a close eye on how these guys set their first pockets, and you can see the Cuvelier brothers getting ready to go. 39 and 37 years old. They grew up together. They're about the same as far as their weight is concerned, as their height is concerned. So, I mean, it doesn't get any more evenly matched than a couple of guys that could be twins, right? You know, getting this first set of hits for the pockets is really important to make sure that you have a solid position for your board. So it looks like on the left-hand side, it's Martin Cuvelier has already set his first pocket and is up, getting ready to set his second pocket. Got a little bit surprised by the start of this competition here. Robin Cuvelier, haven't seen if he's got that first board in yet. Yeah, now he's got that first board in, and he is setting himself up on the second board. And this is where it's important to get that second board in position. He's looking like he's got a good angle because you want to be able to push off of that back foot and not depend on all of your shoulders and your arms putting the power into that block. That can get really tiring. So his position is nice on the board, and as he starts to feel the board underneath him, he'll be able to say, okay, I've got enough support there. And both of these guys really evenly matched as they get up onto the top block here. It did take Robin Cuvelier a bit longer to get up onto that top position than Martin Cuvelier, but Robin seems to have done a good job to try and catch up to his brother. So, I mean, out here, you know, no brotherly love. Martin Cuvelier on the left-hand side, Robin Cuvelier in the back on the right-hand side. And it looks like Martin Cuvelier has the distinct advantage of going deep on that first side, and he'll switch to this strange angle on the backside shortly and try and get through there. A quick twist of the axe. And now he's going to get on that, there you see, switching his foot position and having the axe on the back hits there. It's a difficult place to hit from. And choking up on the axe, he's got a time of 1:48.90. And Robin Cuvelier with a 1:52.46. So those are unofficial times until Bart Jansen gives the thumbs up and has the go-ahead from competition control. We'll also get those adjusted times. And by the way, that time for Robin Cuvelier is a personal best of 1:52.46. So the time to beat at the minute is 1:48.47. And the adjusted score time is 1:52.20 now for Robin Cuvelier. So taking a look at this pocket set up for Martin Cuvelier. Yeah, that's about 4 or 5 hits, maybe 6. I didn't count them really accurately. Gets that first board, and you can see the nice angle, gets that springiness in it, and he can use that angle to his advantage as he tries to set up. Now this is Robin Cuvelier here as he gets that second pocket going. And then we didn't actually get to see how many hits it was on that second pocket before the board went in, but there on top, those last few blows by Martin Cuvelier, and one more should do it here as we take a look at the slow-mo. And my count is off again. Boy, I'm really batting 1,000 today as far as that's concerned, isn't it? Yeah, good heat between those two brothers. Nothing groundbreaking there, to be quite honest with you, but a personal best for Robin Cuvelier, so great job. And there we see in the overall standings how that shifts things around, and both of them are neck and neck with each other in 5th and 6th positions at the moment. So Ben Terpstra and Rick van Drielen will be the next heat getting ready to go. Rick van Drielen said earlier in the interview that he'll be happy if he can get a time in under a minute and change, or under a minute and 30. But his personal best is 1:22, so we'll see how he does. He's got the experience over Ben Terpstra. Ben Terpstra is a bit of a lighter man, although he is tall. It could be to his advantage if he can get those boards set in a really good time and stable. So let's see how we do here.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
So Rick van Drielen, that's about 7, 8 hits. Now he gets up onto that first board, but you can see there's a bit of sag there on his board that's going down at an angle. Meanwhile, Terpstra is up on his board. It's a little bit more horizontal to the ground, so that's an advantage for Terpstra on the first board just to set that second pocket nicely. And I think he's overthinking that second pocket a little bit too much. It looked good, and then he kept digging in there. He really wants to have it. A quick clear with the fingers to set his second board. Let's see what the angle looks like on the number 2 board. It looks very good, but Rick van Drielen is already up on top. But you can see the angle on Rick's board is also sagging a bit, and that means he's going to have to use his shoulders and arms more than he would be able to use his core strength and his hips in order to really put power into it. And you can also see that he's a lot closer in towards the board, or towards the block on the board itself. Meanwhile, Terpstra, he's on the outside edge of his board, so he's able to use more of his hips and his upper body to swing that axe and get more drive into the axe and into the wood. And that's going to be an advantage for him. You can see he's much farther back from the wood. That gives him more power to the axe head and more swing speed as well. Rick van Drielen's got that power, though, but you can see he's working it all from his upper body. That means he's going to be tired very quickly as he gets that axe caught in and struggles to get it out. Terpstra is already working the backside, and Rick van Drielen has got a lot of material still on the front. Terpstra drops it in 1:44.36, a great time just ahead of Martin Cuvelier, and that means he moves into the top position in Springboard with a personal best. Very nice job by Terpstra, and it was all down to the positioning of his springboard at the top there. Had just a bit better position, and meanwhile Rick van Drielen still trying to get through there. Now if the time runs to 2:25, 2:30, that means it will be a DQ because of running out of time. Let's just see here. Yeah. He's going to go back to the front side, but it's going to be a problem for Rick Van Drielen because he's already coming up on 2:30 here, and there it is, DQ at 2:30, time limit exceeded. He'll hear the whistle, and that is a disappointment for the veteran Rick Van Drielen. So DQ, 0 points for him, and he is exhausted, taking a little bit of a siesta there on top before he climbs back down. He is disappointed, definitely, because he knows he can do better. But we've seen it today. The wood is just not behaving in the favor of the athletes, and they have to work a little extra harder in order to, did I just say that? A little extra harder? A little extra hard in order to get through those blocks. So now our stage crew will get to work on replacing all 4 of those stands. And let's take a look here. Rick Van Drielen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We don't get to see it continue, but I believe he had like a 6 or a 7 hit pocket on that first board. It was sagging a bit, and here you can see Terpstra getting up on his board. It was pretty well positioned, started to sag a little bit, but didn't get much past parallel on his first pocket. And then Rick Van Drielen, you can see his second board sags out immediately when he gets up. That pocket just wasn't quite the way he wanted it, and that just played a role in how much power he was able to put to the block at the top, and it cost him a lot of time. And here we see the last couple of blows from Terpstra as he drops that block down. Good job by him, and a personal best for Ben Terpstra with a 144.04. He's happy about that. Yeah, there you can see the disappointment in Rick Van Drielen after that whistle blew, and just absolutely gutted and exhausted there. Takes it out of you, man. Takes it out of you. So Springboard, Terpstra at the top, Van Drielen with a DQ, sitting in 4th place after 2 heats in the overall standings. Terpstra moves up ahead of Koen Martens and Van Drielen. So there we are with the overall standings at the moment, and yeah. It's getting interesting now.
Yeah, and it looks like fitness is more and more important in this discipline, in the springboards. We might be able to take a closer look at the fitness of Ben Terpstra. It would be nice to get him because he is the fastest man so far in a close-up. And Troy, hopefully you're going to find out why he has been the best athlete so far.
Yeah, you can hear you see that Ben gets that first board set in pretty nicely. Like I said, it did sag slightly, but here 1, 2, 3, 4, and he started to second guess himself. I said this during the heat itself, that would have been enough right there, I think, but then he started to get a little bit deeper in. Probably was okay for him after this hit. Quick finger sweep to make sure everything is out of the way, and I think probably... Yeah, I think, at this point right here, he probably could have gone in a lot earlier. His board position would have been okay, but, he got up there, and you could see he's got a nice angle on his board, and that springiness in the board helps him out because he can step back onto the back end of the board and really push off that back foot, twist his hips, and put more power into the block at the top, as which we saw from Rick Van Drielen. He was standing a lot closer to the block. He had to have his hands up higher on the axe handle in order to be able to hit the block without, he just didn't have the power. He didn't have the, the strength in his hits in order to get through there as well as Ben Terpstra did in this case. And, it cost him. It cost him energy. It cost him time. And at the end, he was DQ'd because he ran over time. And you can see here, Ben Terpstra's foot, it's not quite at the very back of the board, but, it's really far back. And as a tall man, it gave him the advantage of being able to really swing through on each of those hits. A little skip right there, but no big deal. He got through deep on this first side, and then he didn't have to do as much work on that weird angle on the backside here as he switches his footing and then tries to get those sharp down cut angles to drop that block as quickly as he could. But he did a great job there. I mean, kudos to him. It's a personal best, and those things are improving every day. And each time that these guys get out there, they improve on their fitness. They improve on, their use of the axe and the different angles that they're using the axe on. So, you mentioned fitness earlier. Huge, huge, huge deal here, especially
with the Springboard because there's so much going on. And then, at the end, you have to be able to just keep going and keep going and get that thing done in under the 2-minute 30 time frame. So a great job by Terpstra to be at the top of Springboard so far. But there's 2 more heats coming, and the best man in BeNeLux is going to be in one of those 2 heats.
Oh, I'm sure about that. So let's find out, who is Koen Martens?
Hi everyone, Koen Martens, reigning Belgium champion. I'm 36 years old. I started competing when I was 28 and it was an amazing adventure. I am an arborist by trade and I have 2 jobs, so one part is being an arborist and the other part is teacher in metalworking. The highlight of my career would be the team race at the World Championship in Innsbruck. It was together with David Bergen, Maarten and Robin Kubelik and Arno Goudsmit. And for the first time I competed on a World Championship and we took the national record. The biggest setback of my career would be a torn muscle in my shoulder. It was last year. I'm still recovering from that. With a lot of exercises and good help from specialists, it will be okay. During Corona, I had some extra time, so I finished the house and I spent some more time finishing axes, saws and chains, so everything will be ready when we start competing again.
Koen Martens on stage side number 2.
Last thing I want to say, I'm very thankful for everyone who helped me in this amazing adventure. So stay safe and I hope to see you all soon.
AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers.
Well, even Koen Martens was a rookie once. We'd love to take a closer look at our rookies now, because they are the future of STIHL Timber Sports. So we're getting ready for the heats 3 and 4 in the Springboard competition, and it looks to me that the athletes are ready. Troy, what about you? You ready too?
Yes, I am. I mean, the last 2 heats, a load off for me as well. It's an exciting couple of heat with Maarten Harms and Elko de Beer in heat number 3, and then heat number 4 with the 2 guys who won their respective national championships. Redmer Knoll going up against Koen Martens, and I mentioned it earlier on. You know, it's that head game that Redmer could be playing with himself, knowing that Koen Martens is such a strong springboard athlete, so we'll see how that breaks down when these two go head-to-head in heat number 4. But before that, Martin Harms and Elko de Beer have to go at it. And yeah, they've got some okay times. I mean, Martin Harms, his best time is 1:17.32, and Elko de Beer 1:08.97. So advantage could go to Elko de Beer. Let's see.
Well, we'll find out in just a moment.
All right, there's our forest again, and Martin Harms and Elko de Beer going up against each other once again. We've seen them battle earlier on in the day, and they're doing it again. So there you see their personal best, 1:17.32 and 1:08.97. I still can't wrap my head around the time from Sterling Hart of 35.67. That is an incredible time.
It's unreal.
I mean, the gods had to come together on that one in order to offer good wood, good axes, and good air. Because, I mean, that is just, I mean, that's going to be a time that's probably going to stand for a long, long, long time. Martin Harms focused on that first pocket. He is thinking 4, 4, 4. Here we go.
Okay. Athletes ready.
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Elko de Beer struggling a little bit on his first pocket. Martin Harms has already got his pretty much cut, I believe, and then Elko de Beer has got up there fairly fast now. Actually, I'm hearing the axe from Martin Harms in the background. Elko de Beer is working on his second pocket now. This is where precision and a little bit of power, that's about 6-7 hits right there for Elko de Beers. Martin Harms now setting his second pocket. Elko de Beers gingerly testing his springboard, but it looks very good for him up there as he's got a nice stand and has started working on the top block. Martin Harms now up on top of his board. Also looks like he's got a decent angle. Back foot pushes down, and he gets going on that top block now. And we already have passed the 106 mark, so again, not seeing any personal best dropping here in springboard for these two gentlemen. At least not at this point. Personal best for Martin Harms is 117, but that's done and dusted. And again, let's not forget, 2 minutes 30 is the cutoff for getting this event done for this particular discipline. Martin Harms up on top. Now Elko de Beer is working on the backside of his block. That axe is getting stuck in there every hit, it seems like, and now 2 more hits should do it. There we go. It's down and out, and Elko de Beer with a 1:43.32 unbelievably has the fastest time. Martin Harms yelling at his log there as he's gotten a bit of a weird angle and has started to splinter that wood out and not slabbing it away, and he's really struggling to get that thing through. He's got to get it done in 25 seconds, and here we go. Now he's going to finally get it through as he lops it off from the front side. 4th place for him in the overall standings after he's got 5th place in springboard. All right, a lot of discussion going on stage as we take a look back at the slow-mos here really quickly. So this is Elko de Beers right there. Took him a bit of time to get that first pocket cut, but nicely cut, and a little skip right there by Martin Harms. That's 6 hits right there. Oh, that was a good pocket for Martin Harms as he got up and went to set his second pocket. And where Martin Harms struggled up at the top was where Elko de Beers was definitely having an advantageous time is right there on that backside cut. Elko looking good. Martin Harms just had a weird angle and he had to go back to the front side and finally lop this thing off. And hey, boy, did he ever. That thing did the backflip on the way down. And you could see he was totally unhappy with the time there. So, De Beer with the fast time of 1:42.99. Harms with a 2:08.26. And that will take a look at the overall standings now. De Beers stays on top. Koen Martens in second place. He hasn't done his springboard yet. And Knoll is down in sixth place, and he will be competing in heat number 4 with Koen Martens, Redmer Knoll. Remember, this is a discipline that Koen Martens absolutely is strong in. Look at the difference in time there. Personal best for Koen Martens, 56.32. Personal best for Redmer Knoll, 2:30.66. Remembering that in this competition, 2:30 is the cutoff, so he has got to, he needs to be training in the off-season in order to be ready for this particular discipline. And most of these guys, if they know they have a weak discipline, they'll spend a lot of time training on that discipline to make sure that they can at least keep up. But Redmer Knoll has his work cut out for him here in this competition against Koen Martens. Koen actually does a lot of mental training with one of Belgium's best mental training coaches. Also works with the Belgian national cycling team. So this is something that helps him focus on everything. Koen on the far side, and great pocket by Knoll as he gets up just ahead of Koen Martin. He's obviously been working this, so it's going to come down to that top block, I believe. Koen Martens now setting up his second pocket. Oh, and look at this. Ha ha ha! Redmer Knoll with the second board in place already ahead of Koen Martens. Could it be that we have an upset here? Koen Martens, good position on top, though. This is where he excels. Oh, wait a minute. There's a problem with Knoll's second pocket. He's got to go back, take the board out, reset the pocket. He's in big trouble here now as Koen Martens is already up top. That is unfortunate. There was a big problem. There was obviously something that caught there that wasn't allowing the board to stay stable. Koen Martens already on the backside of his board. Not going to get a personal best here, but it's going to be a great time. And I imagine that he is going to definitely take over the top spot with a 1:01.47. Yeah, no doubt about it. Holy smokes, folks. That was a good one from Koen Martens, and I thought for sure Redmer Knoll was going to cause problems for him, but right now he is just having problems of his own with that second pocket. He didn't clear it out properly. The board is slipping too much, and he's already at the 125 mark. He needs to be rock and roll up top there if he wants to get done in the time of 2:30. Koen Martens waiting on top of his boards as now he comes down, and Redmer Knoll working to try and get through that. Now passing the 45, 145. Yeah, he's got 45 seconds left now. If he wants to get through that block, it's going to be tough for him. You could see that board sagging a bit. He didn't get the angle on it that I think he wanted. It was unfortunate because I thought for sure that he was going to be up on top of that second board quickly. 25 seconds to go now. Can he do it? He's almost there. He needs to get the points. He can't afford a DQ. Good job. 2:13.53, a personal best for Redmer Knoll. And I think he just overthought that second pocket a bit too much. I hope we can get replay and slow-mo on setting that second pocket and what happened to make him take his board back out and start re-hammering away at that pocket. So on one side, it's disappointing because he was there, but then stepped back. On the other side, though, it's a personal best for Knoll. So let's take a look here. This first pocket looked really good. He was set quickly. I think that was a maximum a 6-hit pocket. The angle was great. Koen Martens, on the other hand, man, he was just fire on this one. Sets that board, gets up there, and starts working on the top. As we go back over here, this was the first set or the second set? No, this is when he actually... No, you could see that board start slipping out. This is when he came back down, had to take the board out and then reset the pocket. And that's where everything went south for Redmer Knoll. So regardless, he's got himself a personal best there. And that's where he finally set the board and got up on top. And luckily, he managed to get that top block off under the 2 minutes 30. And with the adjustments, we're at 2:13.43 for him. But Koen Martens, wow, 101.24. So that means Koen Martens wins yet another discipline. He's got himself 65 points. That's 15 points ahead of De Beer, Elko De Beer, in the overall standing. So, yeah, it could be a real nice battle between these two guys as we head towards Hot Saw, which is the difference maker, as we know, Marcus.
Absolutely. And I think Koen Martens will be hard to beat today. But let's take a look at Redmer Knoll. I mean, it was his fourth personal best in the fourth discipline, and he started off so well. It looked amazingly good. I mean, he was faster than Koen Martens. And then that second pocket.
Yeah, setting that second pocket, he was definitely quicker, or at least on pace with Koen Martens. But then you saw when he got up there and he started taking that first hit, or at least tried to get the axe out, the springboard started to sag, and you could see coming down and down and down. And when you get past a certain point, that thing's going to slip out, and that's the last thing you need when you're 2 meters up in the air. We mentioned it earlier. You don't want to come down with a sharp axe in your hand from 2 meters up and have to deal with the consequences. So better that he took the time, reset the pocket, put the board back in again, and got up top. Yeah, it was a personal best, not the best time overall, but he didn't give up. He kept fighting, and 4 personal bests in a row. That's pretty awesome for Redmer.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think Davey is already on site, getting ready with an interview partner. So hopefully we can hear some expert calls from down on the field of play, on the big stage of STIHL TIMBERSPORTS BeNeLux National Championships. And I honestly wonder who Davey has found, but obviously they are not quite ready yet, which is not a problem. Troy will just go analyzing that fastest run that we've seen in this competition, and that is, of course, the favorite Koen Martens. Let's take another close look at the way he got this best time.
Yeah, so if we look back at the slow-mos here from Koen Martens, he set this first pocket, 2 hits, 3, 4, goes down angle 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and yeah, okay, so not the fastest pocket. Oh, excuse me, that's not Koen Martens. That's Elko De Beer. Alrighty then.
Yeah, that's but that was not too bad what he showed us.
No, not bad at all. I mean, the first set of pockets, you could see him chipping out some material there. Finally cleans that area out a bit. And
is that something that Redmer Knoll forgot to do, just to clean out the material?
It could have been that he just, all he needed to do was sweep out some of that material, because if loose material gets caught underneath the toe of the board before the hook gets in, then that can, wiggle around and move, and how the board will start to slip out. So, sometimes it's just inexperience, sometimes it's overthinking it too much, and
during the competition, things like these happen.
Yeah, and this is what I mentioned to you earlier. He's getting inside his own head a little bit too much, knowing that he's going up against, Koen Martens, and it happens, right? Sometimes it's just a matter of one little hit there, and you could see.
I wish you guys could see Troy now. He's showing me all the moves, especially before when he did the springboard. Using the spring. Maybe we can get a camera on Troy. Oh yeah. You should show everybody, because that was really awesome. He's getting all the power down and all the. But you're lucky, Troy, because I've just been
saved by the bell.
Yeah, Davey is ready with an interview partner. So let's go down into the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS arena.
Springboard, one of the most difficult disciplines in STIHL TIMBERSPORTS, because all skills come together. Maarten, Sterling Hart does it in 3 hip pockets. Sterling Hart heeft ongeveer 3 hits nodig per pocket. Can you hear it? Ah, they're making a lot of noise with the hot saw. Okay, it's okay right now. So Sterling Hart does it in 3 hit pockets. Sterling Hart heeft ongeveer 3 hits nodig voor een pocket te maken. Ja. Hoeveel heb jij er nodig?
Als ik in vorm ben, 4, heel soms 4, meestal 5, tussen de 5 en de 10. Dan ben ik al heel tevreden.
Okay.
Maar dan moet echt heel hard trainen.
Yeah, so Maarten needs 5 hit pockets to stick his springboard right into that wood. What do you think of your performance? Hoe heb je jouw oefening ervaren?
Vandaag ging eigenlijk heel goed, ondanks dat ik samen met mijn broer dezelfde springboards... We hebben samen dezelfde springboards, dus moest ik springboards lenen. En dat is altijd even wennen.
Ah, okay. So normally he uses the springboard of his brother, Robin Cuvelier. But now, they had to do the same at the same time. So that was a little bit difficult. And he lent the springboards of Martijn Harms.
Ja, Nederlander.
Martijn Harms. Always nice that these guys are helping you, of course.
Yeah.
So now it's done for you. And you have a little secret to conceal. Je hebt nog een klein geheimpje dat jij wilt onthullen hier op STIHL Timbersports, want je hebt blijkbaar iets gefotografeerd dat heel zeldzaam is.
Ja, ik heb de eerste links van België gefotografeerd en ook een wolf. Dat is een bijkomende hobby. Deze is ook nog altijd een van mijn betere hobby's. Dus doe erin verder.
So Maarten has a little secret to conceal. He managed to take a picture of the wolf of Belgium and of a lynx in Belgium. So that's really rare, and he's one master photographer. So he did really a splendid job out there. All right, Marcus and Troy, thank you very much, and back to you guys.
Well, thanks very much, Davey. And talking about a good photographer, I mean, the World Trophy, that's a good place to go and take some brilliant pictures. There should have been a World Trophy at the beginning of the year, but of course it was postponed due to the COVID-19 restrictions. But we're still going to take a closer look because hopefully we can return next year and do exactly the same, just with 1 year in between, which we'll just forget. But here are the pictures. Arbeitswichtige.
AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers. AccuPower by STIHL. Alleen bij STIHL dealers.
So we're very much looking forward to the Champions Trophy taking place in 2021. But we've still got a European Trophy coming up this year in November. Take a closer look. Here you can see all the dates on the 8th of November. The European Trophy live from Munich. And of course, later on the same month, on the 29th, the Individual World Championship also taking place in Munich. We'll show you everything live, so you're not going to miss out on anything. And hopefully in 2021, we'll be back live with audience. Troy, that's something everybody's missing, and we're all very much looking forward to.
Yeah, fingers crossed for having our audiences back and, being able to be live at each of these different event locations. But, it is what it is now. We have to take care of our families. We have to take care of our communities and work together with each other in order to, stop the tide of this COVID thing.
So it's time to take care of the bracket now.
Yep, let's take care of the bracket.
So let's take a close look at the movement.
Yeah, you see that win with Koen Martens put him back in the overall lead with 65 points, but Elko de Beer is only 15 points back. So the make-or-break discipline, the hot saw, is coming up, and that's the one that could be the tell-all for who's going to win this. So there is still a chance for Elko de Beer and Ben Terpstra to maybe do some damage here, but again, we're talking about these finicky hot saws, so yeah.
You've mentioned it. The hot saw is the maker or the breaker. Anything and everything can happen in this discipline, and everything you want to know about the hot saw, well, we'll show you right now.
This is the one.
Looking at the individual competition, most of the time it's the hot saw that makes the difference.
Yeah, probably the most important event, but also the most frustrating.
These saws are so incredibly powerful and dangerous.
Usually the hot saw is the decider.
Stand to your timber.
Hot saw. Hot saw. I can't describe to you when we're out there under pressure.
Saw starts well, first disc looks solid.
The cut is good.
You know, you're always ending the competition on a hot saw, so you know where you're going to be at when you finish. So you're either at a real big high or just is what it is.
Nice clean cuts, easy and relaxed.
Der Hot Saw ist für mich die geilste Disziplin der Welt.
5, 6, 8, Robert Ebner, 3 on the deck. Once the competition comes, anything can happen. Oh no, a false start by Sterling Hart. What a disaster.
Yeah, it was a disappointment for me. Happens though, it's part of competing.
I saw there's 3 good discs there, but then they let that nose come right up underneath the cross over the line.
Fortunately, a disqualification.
It all relies on the hot saw.
If you have bad luck or if you did wrong, it's sport. Just
oh my goodness. What an absolute disaster. The chain came off.
I was not disappointed because everybody see that I can be with the guys in front.
Yeah, it's the make or break event,
I think you love and you hate it.
Try to make 3 good cuts and no disqualification.
The hot saw is where it's all one, so that's the best event.
Well, you either love it or you hate it. But how does the format work? We'll show you now.
Hot saw. For the hot saw, power saws are called into action, and the athletes have a space of 15 centimeters to cut 3 complete discs off a 46 centimeter thick wooden block. Jumping the start or cutting over the line will result in a disqualification. These custom, handmade, race-tuned machines are built for maximum power and precision and to cut the wood as fast as possible in a competition. They are built with a 60 to 80 horsepower single-cylinder 2-stroke engine, often taken from a snowmobile or high-powered motorbike. The hot saw can weigh up to 30 kilograms and its chain rotates at over 250 kilometers an hour. The cost of a competition hot saw used in STIHL TIMBERSPORTS is upward of 6,000 euros.
Six athletes left for this grande finale of the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS National BeNeLux Championships. Let's find out the running order, and the starting order is heat number 1 with Rick van Drieland and Redmer Knoll. In heat number 2, Martin Harms and Ben Terpstra will take themselves on, and in heat number 3 come Elko de Beer and Koen Martens. We are ready to rumble. Troy, let's do the hot saw.
Yeah, let's do it. And something unusual for the hot saw is we have head-to-head heats this time. Normally these guys are out on stage on their own, but in this case we'll see them out on stage going head-to-head. Now, you can see Rick van Drieland. This is a discipline that he really likes. His personal best is 6.97. That's not that far off the world record held by Dirk Brown of 5.20. So if you can imagine, he just needs to have 3 good cuts, and he could well take a world record here today. Yeah, we can guess and we can wish, but we'll see. He's going up against Redmer Knoll. You know, the young guy, he's been great. He's the Dutch national champion. and now competing here. He's had a bunch of personal bests today, so he really can't be disappointed with how things went for him today, and he's in the mix for this hot saw discipline. So here's an opportunity for him to show and prove. And now what they'll do is they'll start up the saws. It's a warm start, we'll call it, so they get to warm up the saw, but you can't overdo it. You have to make sure it doesn't get too hot. Then they'll shut the saws down, rewrap that starting cord, and get everything ready to go. And then it's all in one smooth motion. They have to draw that line out, get the saw going, do a cut down, a cut up, and a cut down within 15 centimeters, as you heard in the description. And then once that's all done and taken care of, we have a time. And of course, you can't cut outside the line. You can't cut through a disc. You have to be precise. So, you know, nothing really heavy duty going on here. This is where it's about these finicky saws. So you can see two different saw blade types here on the right-hand side by Red McNulty. He's got the straighter steel blade, and on the left side, Rick Van Drielen has a little bit more of a belly-up blade, so we'll see how this goes. Great start from Rick Van Drielen. Oh yeah, 5.84, national record from Rick Van Drielen. That is fantastic, and he's going to be happy about that. Red McNull struggling, and he has to restart that saw. His time is still running. I don't think he got 3 on the floor yet. But wow, what a time by Rick Van Drielen. Ha ha! Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 3 bags full, sir. Or should I say 3 discs on the floor, sir. Oh, yeah. Red McNull, trouble in paradise over there as he has to restart that saw to get his final cut. And there it is, 3 on the floor now, but his time, 42.25. That is unfortunate for the young man. What a great time for Rick Van Drielen, though. This is definitely a discipline that he likes. And now it is a new national record. How happy is he? 5.77 seconds after adjustment. So that's only, let me check it out here. The world record held by Dirk Brown, 5:20. That's only 57 hundredths of a second slower than the world record. Rick Van Drielen is on his way.
Not bad at all.
Let's see what happened here with Redmer. So he had a good first cut there, it looks like, but you could see Rick Van Drielen was done with his cuts. Well, Red McNull was still working on his first cut. Watch this again. Rick Van Drielen, 1, 2, good second cut, was nice and thin. He got that third one on the floor, and he went over to check that line, and he was like, yes, I can celebrate after that one. Absolutely. So a new national record gets thrown out the window by Rick Van Drielen, or the national record gets thrown out the window by Rick Van Drielen with a great time of 5.77. And that means Rick Van Drielen now moves into second in the overall with 56 points. He does have the potential to win this thing if... Well, no, actually, can't happen. 65. He's up. Yeah, 65 points is going to be a tough one to beat for Rick Van Drielen. But he is in heaven right now with the new national record, so he'll be happy about that. All right, Martin Harms and Ben Terpstra. Couple of good times there as well, 6.86 and 7.39. All right, everything is set up for heat number 2 here. There's a beast. Look at that machine right there. I think that's that Rotax motor, I'm not sure. That big fat blade on there. Heavy, heavy machines, and you have to be precise. When you get those things started, all the moving parts just shaking and baking. Ben Terpstra. You also notice that when Terpstra puts his
saw down on the
Warm up
ground.
your saw.
His blade is more or less parallel with the ground. If you look to the left-hand side, Martin Harms, his blade is at an angle of about 20 degrees upwards, so theoretically speaking, getting that blade up and into position is going to be faster for Martin Harms than for Ben Terpstra. Let's see if that's actually the case as these two guys get themselves set up for competition. Saws are warmed up. They have to rewrap their starts and hook up everything to get ready to go.
30 seconds.
Personal best for Martin Harms, 6.86.
Athletes, ready.
Stand to your timber.
Here we go.
3, 2, 1, go!
Oh, yes, another record goes out the window. Both of these guys with personal bests, and we've got another national record going down, this time for the Dutch side. Fantastic. So we got two national records. No, that was a typo on screen for me. That's can't be right because the national record is owned by Rick Van Drielen at 5.77. Martin Harms with a 6.53. That'll be a personal best, not a national record, because his personal best prior was a 6.86. So a 6.53 now for Martin Harms. Ben Terpstra, he's got a personal best at a 7.21. So some improvements there for both these guys. Look how those saws dig into that wood as they grind through there. Great job by both these guys. All cuts are good, as we heard. So those scores will count as we move towards our last pairing of Eelco de Beer and Koen Martin. Ben Terpstra, nice and solid there. And you know there's going to be improvement on his side as well. So, yeah, there we go. Martin Harms with a personal best of 6.53. Ben Terpstra also with a personal best of 7.21 in the overall. Koen Martens stays on top with 65 points. Martin Harms sitting in second place with 58. Terpstra with 57. So Eelco de Beer is really the only guy that can do any damage, and he's going to be going up against Koen Martens in heat number 3. And again, it's those head games that could start to play a role here between these two guys, knowing that one mistake could be the difference maker between winning it and losing it. 18 points up for grabs, by the way. So last inspections by Bart Janssen of the machine of Eelco de Beer. Koen Martens, again the technician, marking up and measuring to the centimeter to make sure that he is set and has everything clear in his mind. So the only thing that can really prevent Koen Martens from taking the championship here today is a DQ, which is entirely possible with these machines. If they don't want to play, they will pout and kick you out. If Eelco de Beers has the fastest time, so if he beats 5.77, he'll get the 18 points. And Koen Martens would get 0 points for a DQ. That means
Okay, gentlemen.
Eelco de Beers would have 68 points and Koen Martens 65. But it's all about down to the action. Here we go. Oh, the tension mounts. 5:77 the time to beat. Will either of these guys be able to do that? It's going to be a tough one. Rick Van Drielen with a fantastic hot saw today. A look through the protective glass at Elko de Beer, excuse me, and there we see Koen Martens with all of his mental preparation. Here we go, hands on the wood.
Athletes, ready!
Stand to your timber. 3, 2, 1, go!
Oh no, here we go. Koen Martens having problems with his saw. Elko de Beer, oh, he's got a half cut there. He's cut outside the disc. He's going to need to go back and recut this. This is a disastrous situation for both of these guys, but Koen Martens gets through in 20.78. Elko de Beer in 17.43. Unbelievably, that's 5th place for Koen Martens for the hot saw, but that still means he's going to get enough points because it looks like all the cookies were good, even though he had to go back and restart that saw. And assuming that everything comes out okay, oh no, we've got a DQ on stand 1 for Elko de Beer, so it flipped around a DQ for Elko de Beers, and that means Koen Martens, if all 3 cookies are good and no line is cut, we have thumbs up from Bart Janssen. That means Koen Martens is your BeNeLux champion 2020. Wow. What a crazy heat that was. Totally unexpected, but we said it.
Unreal.
Anything can happen with hot saw. It is the make or break discipline.
I was completely losing it. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And of course, if we get to the final score now, everything has changed, and Koen Martens, of course, made it. But Martin Harms in silver and Ben Tesfaye taking bronze. That's a bit of a surprise. But both of these athletes, as you can see now in the slow-mo, I mean, having troubles.
And Koen Martens was calm and collected as he put that saw down, rewrapped it, and you can see here, Elko de Beers had a great first cookie. I mean, right there was the problem. It was too thin, and then on his way back up, he wanted to readjust so he doesn't cut the cookie that's on the floor, not realizing that it wasn't complete. Then he had to go reset, cut a thick one to make sure that he was safe, and then go back and cut another one, and that killed his time, but he didn't pay attention to that first cookie, or that the first cookie which was cut outside, so it wasn't a complete cookie, unfortunately. So, excuse me. An incomplete cookie for Elko de Beers, a DQ, that's meaning 0 points. Koen Martens with not the best time of 20.80 after adjustment, but still enough for 9 points, and that means 74 points for the win, with Martin Harms sitting in 2nd place with 58 points, and just 1 point behind him in the bronze medal position, Ben Terpstra.
A very strong performance by the team from the Netherlands, but the BeNeLux champion is Belgian. It's Koen Martens, and that performance was more than impressive. And just like Troy said, he kept his calm. Everything started off really bad in the hot saw, in the breaker event, but he kept his calm. He went back down, and he did that really, really well. But Mark Harms is the one that had the fastest time, and that's the analysis that we still need to do, because we want to see how he can compete in the hot saw the best way possible, and that was this man today.
So there we see Rick Van Drielen, just a couple of fat cookies, actually, and we always say thin to win, and this is where, right here, he goes over immediately and checks to make sure that he wasn't over the line, saw that he was safe, even though he had basically used up the entire 15 centimeters of that block in order to get that great time, and when it was readjusted to 5:77, you knew he had a new national championship. or a new national record, excuse me, not national championship. So, yeah, Rick Van Drielen, a great hot saw. That was, the make or break for him, and he made it with the fastest time of the day, 5:77 after adjustment, officially making a new national record. So, big congratulations to him, and he can work from that point up, I think.
So here's the overall standing again.
Koen Martens on top with 74 points, and you could see he won that first underhand chop. Wasn't so great in the stock saw, but then in the single buck, or the standing block chop, excuse me, he won that one, and then standing block and springboard as well, taking the full points home there. So there was really no stopping Koen Martens, who was the favorite today. Martin Harms, great job by him though, coming in second place, and of course Ben Terpstra surprised in third place in the bronze medal position, Marcus.
Oh, a big surprise for me, but no surprise with the new and old BeNeLux champion. And from what I've heard, Davey, our field reporter, has the champion in front of his microphone. And we want to, of course, hear what he has to say to this glorious victory.
Koen Martens, what a thrilling final. What went wrong with the hot saw?
It's very simple for my hot saw. The lady has to be very, very hot. When the weather is like wet, like this, like with rain and everything, I know there must be a lot of heat in it to get it started up like really smooth, and it was not heat enough. So, and another thing, I had to pull harder. That's also one thing. Don't always blame the saw. So it's also my part of it.
BeNeLux champion 2020. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy that I can take the trophy again back to Belgium. So I'm very pleased. I won all disciplines without a motor, like not a stock saw, not a hot saw. So I'm happy with what I did.
When you look back at this competition, what are the things to learn? Are there several things that can be managed better?
There's always something in a competition that can be managed better. So like a little bit more axe hanging out, or just little things that maybe make a better difference or a bigger difference next time. But it was good enough for this competition, but I will try to do it better next year, for sure.
Yeah, of course, but you have the support of your wife, your family, you have a psychologist. You've got a whole team around you.
I'm very happy that I have a real team around me. Like my wife, it was like a really roller coaster this week, like of emotions. She talked me through. She stood by me, for me like healthy dinners, supported me, and then also like the team, like Media Loop is sponsoring me. Everything, everyone that is supporting me, I want to say a very big thank you, because with you guys and especially my wife, this life was not possible for me. So thank you very much.
Okay, so now you are going to the individual World Championship. What's the perspective there?
I'm going to do my best and enjoy as much as I can, because there were not a lot of competitions going on this season with the COVID. I'm very happy that still BeNeLux organized one competition. You see other athletes again. You see other countries also competing behind closed doors, but it's good that we can do what we love to do, and that is sewing and chopping wood.
All right, and with these last words, I will thank you very, very much, Koen, and congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, our national pride, Koen Martens!
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
A very relaxed and happy champion. He deserved it. What do you say, Troy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he said in the interview, winning all three of the non-motor related disciplines. And I mean, clearly, stock saw and hot saw aren't his strong disciplines, but he pulled through. He was calm with the hot saw, as we saw, restarting the saw, getting 3 complete cookies. So that was a difference maker. And all he really had to do was get 3 cookies on the floor complete, and he would have had enough points to take down the title no matter what.
So it's time to take a look at the final lists and the final standings. In position 14, Arno Goudsmet. Here's the overall standing for everyone. Congratulations to Florent van Remdonk with the 13th position. In 12, Bert Berneers. 11, François Lamrechts. 10, Eugene Gerdes. In 9, Edwin Dost. Position 8 goes to Robin Cuvelier. 7 to Martin Cuvelier, sharing number 6 in this competition. Redsmer Knoll. 5, Elko de Beer. And position 4 goes to Rick van Drielen. So it's time for the top 3, ladies and gentlemen, and we're very much looking forward to the winner's ceremony that's going to start in just a few moments. Oh, there we can see the trophies, Troy.
Yeah, we commented on these earlier on. They're very cool. Wouldn't mind having one of those on my mantle. Actually, I wouldn't mind having a mantle.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't either. So everybody's getting ready for the big winners ceremony. But that was a crazy competition. I really enjoyed watching that with all that drama at the end. And still you got a man who deserves to win. I mean, Koen Martens from the very beginning showed us that he is wanting to win this. His preparation, from what we've heard, must have been almost perfect. And yeah, he did what he had to do on the day. And I think he's a true champion.
And I don't recall ever having a competition where there have been so many disqualifications because of, minor stuff. And that just says, that the judging criteria are very, very difficult for these athletes. So there's no messing around, and they want to make sure that it's a fair competition for everybody. And they're looking at just the smallest nuances. And it could be cutting over a line by like a millimeter, and that's a disqualification, as we saw earlier on in the underhand chop. And yeah,
that's what Koen Martens said at the beginning of the competition. It's not to make any stupid mistakes.
It's about the mistakes.
And it looks like we can call in the bronze medalist here at the STIHL TIMBERSPORTS BeNeLux Championships, Ben Terpstra. I can already hear the music. And hopefully very soon we'll see the bronze medalists. Ben Terpstra proceed into the arena to take his position.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for the medal ceremony of the BeNeLux Championship 2020. Third position, third place, and winner of the bronze trophy. Here is Ben Terpstra.
He had a great competition, Troy.
All right, Ben.
Didn't expect him necessarily
with
to
57 points.
So congratulations.
Ben Terpstra for the Netherlands. And he gets the trophy out of the hands of Nina.
Considering he ended up
very happy with his trophy
at the Dutch Cup, this is great progress.
Second place with 58 points, Martijn Harms from the Netherlands. With a smile on his face, thumbs up for Martijn Harms and a little fist from his team colleague Ben Terpstra. And here's Nina with the silver trophy. Almost number one, she says. All right, first place, ladies and gentlemen, the champion of the BeNeLux Championship 2020, Koen Martens from Belgium. All right, Koen, well done. With 74 points, he wins the gold trophy. And a fist in the air. Number one, that's me. Above his head, Koen Martens. BeNeLux Champion 2020. Congratulations! And John Bosmans, project lead at STIHL TIMBERSPORTS, with the pruning machine, and here comes the national anthem of Belgium. Well done, guys. All right, thank you all for watching this live stream, and we'll be back in half an hour or an hour with the other live stream for the Team Cup challenges. So let's watch this.